Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always, it's just Dennis and Nathaniel today. I say always, there's only two of you.
Hello, hello.
Not that that's a bad thing. I mean,
No.
I'm just saying that Eric's not here. So
We use the relative always
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
not the absolute always.
it could be somebody that we've never had on before, and I'll still say always, because
That's right.
that's just what I do because I'm weird like that. So. But yeah, so we'll start off with like we always do because we've got a lot to talk about with the Game Awards stuff happening last night.
Hold on.
Let's see, what was it? I haven't played a whole lot. I was still playing Animal Crossing, still playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I think that's what it is. Brilliant Diamond. It's Brilliant Diamond.
Brilliant Diamond, yeah. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearls, the other one.
I can never remember. It's Diamond. I'm playing Pokemon Diamond.
Well, that's what it
is. Put that shiny or brilliant in front of it so people...
I mean, they only put the other thing after that so that they fool you into thinking it's a new Pokemon game, but you should just call all of them just Pokemon.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's and I mean, this is straight up as Pokemon as you can get. So yeah.
Oh yeah, this is very traditional.
But yeah, so I've been playing those. The only other thing that kind of off the wall, and really I haven't played it very much. Maybe an hour is all I've gotten to get into it. I expect to play more after we're done. Is Halo Infinite, like everybody else has. I know.
Not me.
Well, not you. I know Nathaniel hasn't.
I haven't gotten around to it yet because I'm like, all the descriptions of what it actually is just like, yeah, I can wait for a while. I don't know. Let them iron out the couple bugs. Maybe add chapter select in there or whatever. Maybe wait long enough for co-op, but that's going to be like in 5 years apparently, so probably won't wait for co-op.
I don't know why it's like May. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know.
I'm a guess. A bunch of people whined that Halo didn't look really good, and they weren't ready to have all of it in on the original release date, and then they've spent the whole intervening time just trying to make it look better, and then they in order to do that, pushed a bunch of things, and then now they're releasing it in bits and pieces.
Yeah, it makes sense. But
it's a weird way to do a game, but I don't know. They can get away with it with a Halo, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. And I don't even know why they released it physically because, half the game's not on the disc anyway that's out there. So it's like, I was going to buy it physically just to have it because I have all the other Halos physically. But it was like, I think I'll wait until maybe next year they'll say, hey, here's a complete edition with everything on the disc, and I'll go, okay, then it's worth buying. Of course,
and it comes with a full suit of power armor.
Yeah, really. Of course, then I have to sit online and listen to people complain about, well, at least this game is complete on the disc. Look, any modern game, you're going to be lucky if it's 100% complete on the disc.
I mean, you're buying the disc to have a cool thing on your shelf more than to have the disc to play the game just off the disc, right?
Yeah, and that disc ain't going to last forever anyway, so trust me, I've got some discs sitting on back from 20 years ago that are starting to rot, so it's, what are you going to do? Yeah. I mean, it happens. They're not old chips like in the old days where you could just have a cartridge and, and those stupid things last forever if you clean them and take care of them. But yeah, I mean,
they last a while, but even those will break down. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, those will eventually break down too. So
anything mechanical.
I mean, you might even just put them in a dump because they're the ET game.
Yeah,
and then they get dug up years later.
I'll just bury them in my backyard and have somebody take my entire cartridge collection and just bury it in the backyard, and somebody in 100 years go, "What is all?"
And you could get whatever gold, any Super NES cartridges or whatever you have, bury them because they're treasure because they're gold.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what you could do in the new Sea of Thieves. You could bury treasure now, and it's hilarious because...
How is that a thing that they're only just adding to this game now? That seems like something they should have done a long time ago.
It's been on the test servers for a long time. When I went on the test server a long time ago, it was on there, and I was very surprised by that it hadn't been, fully released. But what's cool about it is now is when you bury something, you get a map that shows where it's buried at. And you could store it on your ship, on your table, but let's say somebody comes aboard your ship, they can steal that map. Or you could take it and put it up on a board at an outpost to have other people go find the treasure. So What I did the other day was I pulled a treasure map and went, oh, let me go see what other people's buried. Dug it up and went, oh, that's kind of crappy. So I buried it again, and it popped up on my treasure map. And then I dug it up and went, oh, that's kind of dumb too. And I buried it again, and then I just took the treasure back and hung it back up on the thing.
Just paying it forward.
Here's
exactly.
the question: can you bury a treasure that's just one banana? Because that would be the ultimate troll.
I didn't try to bury.
Awesome.
I didn't try to bury a banana, but you can bury pretty much anything else, like crates and stuff like that. Apparently, there was a bug the first day that you could bury kegs lit.
Oh no!
Yeah, so when the person would dig it up, all of a sudden it would appear and be like, "Oh, it's a keg, and it's on fire!" Boom!
It's actually amazing. I love that. I want to see all the hilarity.
Now we need a bigger bug where you can bury your entire ship somehow.
Oh, jeez.
That'd be a fun bug.
Yeah, so whatever it was I dug up on that island that somebody buried, I just turned right around and buried it right exactly where they did, and the map was under my name, and I went and pinned it up. But I haven't went to see if anybody actually found it or dug it up.
Well, is there a point for doing that? Do you get something if someone digs up your treasure?
Yeah,
or
you get
okay.
all the golden, all the gold, or they get all the golden rep, and you get all the golden rep. So it's kind of.
So wait. Okay.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. So.
Sure. I am burying a treasure for you to find, so I will no longer have the treasure, but through magic of video games, I still have the treasure.
That's right. I still get the treasure. Yeah, so.
Get all the credit.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's like, dude, I'll just play solo, and instead of trying to turn anything in, I'll just bury my treasure so someone can steal it, and then someone else will do it for me.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm going to see. I haven't booted it up because I just played just a little bit the other day just to try out what was new. The fireworks are cool. They added fireworks. You could shoot them on other ships and set ships on fire, so that's pretty cool.
And you shoot yourself out of a cannon with fireworks at the same time, so that you have like cool explosions.
That would be cool, but you can't do that. And they have like warning flares now, so they have a white flare and a red flare, and you can like shoot it above an island, and it will light up that entire island for so many seconds. Or you could aim those at boats and shoot them at them and set them on fire.
Of course you can.
Everything sets a boat on fire.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though. It's like, okay, I'm going to use that more as a weapon than I am an actual flare. Unless I'm on an island where you have to kill the things by holding up your lantern, I'll just shoot a flare.
That's right. Yeah.
So and then hop on the island and kill them.
Yeah,
at night.
That'd be useful.
Yeah.
Can you use fish as a weapon in Sea of Thieves, though?
No.
Because that would be fun. I want to slap people with fish.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Just walk up and slap somebody with fish. That would be great.
Even if it does no damage, just let me do it.
Yeah, just let me slap
it's dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like banana duels. You know, there's so many dumb things you could add to that game.
Banana duels. But yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, I played Sea of Thieves, so here I was talking about Halo. Started talking about Halo, and it went into Sea of Thieves. That was weird. Somehow we talked about loot or something. I don't know. Anyway, but what little bit of the game I played, I love it. I mean, it feels like, I want to say it feels like Halo 3, Halo 2. I mean, it feels more like classic Halo than a new Halo, but it is shiny and pretty. I will say that.
Shining Pearl, man, I'm telling you.
I've been playing it on quality mode, just to get the higher res at 60 frames. Well, it's like I told you guys in the chat. For some reason with this game, I can't tell the difference between 60 FPS and 120 FPS, and I don't know why. Maybe that'll change when I get into the...
Is it really 120, or is it a target 120 that's only getting you to like 70?
I don't... I don't...
Because unless you're actually displaying the FPS in the corner, like just from your eyesight, it can be a little bit hard to tell if they're close. But like 60 to 120 is a big jump.
Yeah, I know it's a big difference. Like Overwatch, for example, it's hard for me to play at 60 now, which has spoiled me.
Yeah.
Like, so just a lot of first-person shooters. Like once you get that 120, it is very hard to go back to 60.
Well, and that's the way it is on.
I mean, it's the same as like going like. Yeah, same as going to like back to like a 30 FPS game when you've been playing 60. Even like it's just even more so when you're going from 120 to 60 or 120 to 30. Ugh. Ooh.
Yeah, and
that's a big jump.
And I've sat and done it, but like I said, I haven't got into the open world yet. I'm literally on the second dungeon. I don't know what you'd call it. It plays like the original Halo, so it's second level. I mean, I haven't even got to the open world
Yeah.
part yet. So, or open
Oh, okay.
world. Yeah, that's how little I've played it. Like I said, I've maybe played it an hour, if that. So.
Of course, it's open. It's a Halo. There's a big hole in the middle. That's how
Yeah,
open it
yeah,
is.
it's and broken on that one end, so that's open too. So it's
That's
technical.
right.
But yeah, so Dennis, I know
I've
you've
put about
played it quite a bit.
Yeah, I've put about 8 hours into it, but honestly, I've only done the first like 2 or 3 missions
Gotcha.
because I've just been having so much fun just kind of going around that world and just doing all the side stuff as is with any open world, honestly. So, I've been going and doing. You can get a bunch of collectibles now. And what's cool is a lot of those collectibles they don't really do you much good in the campaign, but what's really cool is that it's almost a way to sort of incentivize people to play the campaign because a lot of that stuff you use for multiplayer actually.
Right.
So you can
Yeah.
get new suits, new skins, new weapons, new sort of charms, new everything. Basically, anything that you can equip, you can put in your multiplayer portion of Halo Infinite, which I think is really cool and a good way to incentivize people. Because God knows I've known so many people over the course of Halo's existence that after a while it's like this started happening probably post 3. The first 2 people were very excited for the story and stuff, but post 3, I want to say, people just kind of just bought them for the multiplayer. They
Yeah.
didn't even touch the campaign. So
Oh, I mean, there's the exact opposite too. People get them
well,
for
of
the
course, of
campaign and
course,
That
then
was the only
get
reason
all the
why I got
modifiers
it.
and keep playing the campaign a bunch. So it's just depends on
yeah,
what kind of player you are.
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's cool that they have this sort of incentivize you to play the campaign, but also rewards you, and it kind of complements each other also, which is really neat. Um, But yeah, no, I've been having a great time with it. I'm enjoying it much more than I thought I was going to. Like I knew I was going to like it, but not as much as
Yeah.
I am currently. And it's it's a really big, beautiful world. I guess my big critique really is that I have run into a couple of bugs. I know I posted them in the group chat, and one of them being that like I've clipped through a couple of things, not just that one clip that I sent you guys where it was right at the beginning of the game. I like jumped out of this exploding, uh, you know, space fortress basically,
Yeah.
and went down one level and just clipped through this box, and I was stuck there for the better part of like 20 minutes trying to figure out a way out. I mean, I kept dying over and over because it was this box that would eventually just fall and
Right.
go to a point where you would just die, but I couldn't find a way out. So, but thankfully, that grappling hook has just made everything crazy, like just a crazy amount of fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the best addition Halo's had in so long. Like, I love that grappling hook; it's so much fun.
Yeah. It is.
Um, it took me a while to get out because I just kept clipping through stuff, and then eventually I got out and I finished the mission. Because you can't restart checkpoints. You can only restart the entire mission. I did not want to restart the entire mission.
Yeah.
Oh, that
'Cause
sucks. Yeah.
yeah, so I just had to deal with it. And I'm sure with the 20 minutes I spent, I probably would have gotten right back up to that point if I had just restarted the mission. But it felt like it was a pretty lengthy mission, and there were some parts in it that I did not want to do again, particularly with like waves of enemies and stuff like that. And I
And
was like, I don't want to do that.
it's tough. It's
It
tougher
is.
than some of
It
the
is.
Halo games that I played. I was surprised. Either that or I'm
I'm
really
surprised.
rusty. I mean, it's
See, and that was I started
Halo can
questioning
have been
myself
pretty
too.
hard in the past if you put the difficulty up, but if it's normal, yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's on
shouldn't be
normal
yeah.
too
though.
I'm
That's
bad.
just
the
playing
thing.
normal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
playing normal,
So
and
maybe like normal now is like what it would have been like legendary or whatever
maybe I
before.
don't
maybe,
Who
know.
knows?
maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah.
maybe,
I haven't
yeah.
played it, so I can't make a comparison.
Yeah.
It's possible because like I never had trouble before. Whether you're
No.
playing solo or co-op, like you pretty
Yeah.
straightforward. You can play that entire game without dying once. But Halo Infinite, my God, I mean, I mean,
I
I've lost
mean,
count with how many
well,
deaths I've
yeah.
had at this point.
You get a
So,
bunch of
Infinite is the number of deaths you're gonna have by the end of the game.
yeah. Well, there's like I'd
that's what we
read,
called it.
I'd listened to G4's review, and like Adam Sessler, he gave it like a 3 out of 5, but he was like, it was too easy on normal for him. He had to turn it up to legendary, and I'm like,
Okay.
Well, good grief. I'm finding it very difficult on normal just
Oh my. Yeah.
because, well, and that I guess the thing is you just can't stop. You got to keep moving around.
You do.
You,
You do.
it's if you stop for a second in the middle of a battle, you're going to die pretty quick because
Yeah, and they're everywhere.
they're
Like,
everywhere and they're throwing crap and it's
I mean, that sounds like Halo already, but you throw in the grappling hook, and maybe they've just made it to incentivize you to use it to move around more, so that you're
yeah.
yeah,
definitely not sitting still.
yeah,
And I definitely do, but it almost feels like the way I'm playing now almost feels like I'm playing more how I do when I play Doom, which is just constant movement. You can't
yeah.
stay still in Doom. It's just constant
Yeah.
movement. And then,
Well,
especially with Doom Eternal, you got the dashes and stuff. And like, so you're going zipping and zapping everywhere. And that's what it feels like with the grappling hook, where it's just like run, latch
yeah.
onto something, pull
Well,
yourself that way,
and
shoot up there.
I'll put it to you this way: I got the achievement for using the grappling hook 50 times in the opening level. 'Cause
Yeah, I got a few achievements like that as
yeah,
well.
it
So
was like okay, I've already used this 50 times because at the end when that part where you got hung up at I was running and grappling to each piece. So and pull myself in to move
that's what I
faster.
was trying to do,
Yeah,
but for some reason, when I grappled, I guess maybe I grappled too hard. Master Chief maybe a little stronger than he knows he is, and he
And
just
then
like,
he
boom,
he said, "Screw you, physics. I'm
yeah.
phasing through this object."
I'm out.
dude went right through like the Kool-Aid man. It was crazy. It was just wild, but I was stuck there for like 20 minutes. It was annoying, but I eventually made it out. And honestly, but all in all, I've been having a great time with it. I know you guys you guys have Series X's, but I've been playing it on a Series S,
Hmm.
and runs great, looks great. It's well optimized. That quality mode is not very quality though. I don't even know why that's there. The performance mode is great, but honestly, in terms of resolution and stuff like that, I don't notice a difference between quality mode and
Well,
performance mode. Even though I
and
did see the Digital Foundry video saying that it did kind of downscale a little bit to 1080p, I believe.
well,
Otherwise, it
yeah.
is
And
1440p.
I was going to say everything that I read, yeah, and I hadn't finished watching all of the Digital Foundry yet, so I couldn't remember if I'd even got to the Series S part yet. Everything I
Yeah,
found was like it's either 1080p 60 or 1080p 30, and I'm like, well, why would they?
yeah,
That can't be right. It's got to be
yeah,
1440p and then
yeah. That
1080
right, and
for
that's what was so
performance.
confusing. And then maybe that's why I haven't really noticed the difference in resolution because there is no difference.
Maybe
But
I don't know. It's
Uh, but I'm like, why would you have quality mode on anyways? Because like literally, like in terms of like the sharpness and whatnot, you can change that individually. Actually, you don't need quality mode for that. You can go into the accessibility options or the video
right.
options of your menu and change the sharpness by hand. I think by default it's at 60%, but you can put it all the way up to 100, make everything just sort of like nice and rigid, or you can put everything to 0, which kind of softens the image a little bit. But honestly, the default looks fine, and yeah, I don't know why there's a quality mode in there
Now,
because there
see,
really is no.
there's a big difference in it in the Series X. I mean, when I turn it to
Right.
performance, things look way different. Things
Yeah,
are fuzzy, things are blurry, especially off
yeah,
in a distance. I turn it on, and you can just turn quality on, and you can just see the grain and things, the dirt, the grime. You can see
right.
which I haven't even messed with the field of view. I've got it set to
I
default, but
I'm actually glad you bring that up because I was playing it again on default. I usually don't change things like that. I keep everything on default always with games.
yeah, usually I
Um,
do too. But
yeah, but this is the first FPS in a very long time where I actually did have to change the field of view just to get a wider sort of scope. I had to just increase it a little bit, maybe by I don't even remember how many degrees, but it was a lot. And
yeah.
but it's helped me just get a better view of my surroundings because I felt like things were too close. It almost felt like you had, for me, anyways. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it felt like Master Chief just had tunnel vision, and
Yeah.
I just wanted. I was like, where are my peripherals? I need peripherals. So
He doesn't have
that's
peripherals in that helmet. Come on.
I trust the helmet, man. As
Well,
all that technology, you can't even get peripherals. It's crazy.
yeah, I was reading something today, and it said that like the optimal field of view was probably between like 195 to 105 or something like that
Yeah,
because it actually makes things smaller. Of course. So if you're shooting at a target, you got to remember that you're making it smaller,
Yeah,
especially from a distance. So you don't want to make it too small because then you're making it
Yeah.
harder on yourself.
Field of view is always weird because different game engines and just games also do it different. So you can't just be like, I like 90 degrees in all of my games, because sometimes the way that they're doing it in the engine is different. So you have to
Right.
kind of like do it. And then I always hate whenever I'm looking at kind of footage or a stream of somebody who has it on like the extreme fisheye stuff so they can just see
Oh, yeah.
everything. I was
That's
just
too
like,
much.
oh, that just too much. It just
Yeah,
like
that's way too
hurts
much.
my
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine doing it on like this 65-inch TV. I couldn't see anything. If I
Yeah.
did it all the way.
I like to have the field of view where it's like it doesn't feel like it. Like a lot of console games from previous generations are like this, and you couldn't even adjust them on there then. But where they had to have it fairly tight in order to make them run well on consoles and stuff, and it needs to be opened up just a little bit more than that, like default for me.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of like stretch it to the point where it's almost starting to warp too much and then go back
Yeah.
some more. So it's like take the default and go up a little bit, and that's usually where I like it for my eyesight anyway.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get too far because then like everything gets so tiny because you're like really, really making the thing all super stretched
Everything
is
gets
the wrong word.
warped and
Squished? I don't know.
stretched.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
like
Yeah.
ends up
Oh, like anything that's like close, you're like panning by it, and like it just like really makes that wide angle lens stretching
super
crazy. That's
elongated.
just like,
Like,
whoa, you don't look human anymore, man. What's up?
Ugh.
yeah.
Yeah. I am glad though they waited a year. I think it really
It paid
helped
off.
them. Yeah, I think so. I mean,
It makes me wonder what the crap the game would have been like if they had released it then, if they didn't have any backlash about how it looked or whatever, and they just put it out, what kind of state it would have been in.
yeah, I kind of wonder that too.
Well, I was reading apparently like they were working on it, and then up until maybe 2018 or 2019, they had to scrap 2/3 of it actually, because originally it was going to be this sort of Zelda like, because they apparently they got a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild, believe it or not, of all things for Halo.
I mean,
and
yeah, sure.
so, but it just got that they apparently had so much in terms of like a world that it just became this big thing that they just couldn't handle or like do things with. So two-thirds of it just became scrapped.
Yeah.
Completely scrapped.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I just had a very amusing image pop into my head of Master Chief floating along with like a Zelda leaf. I can't get it out of my head now. It's too good.
Can you imagine if that's what like the initial like prototype? It wasn't like a grappling hook. It was just like
yeah, it was just a.
I mean, you could give them. Think of like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, like the Green Goblin, like
Oh yeah,
kind of
those little
flying
gliders.
wing thing,
yeah,
whatever you would call it.
flying
You could give
board
Master
or
Chief
whatever.
something like that to just
Yeah.
fly around in,
Sure.
when he doesn't want to get into the actual other vehicles of Halo. No, he just wants to skate in the sky, as Master Chief does.
I can't wait till the co-op comes up though. I am anxious to play it.
But you're gonna have to.
So
Yeah,
remind me, there's no. So it's not just local that's gone. You can't even do online co-op. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, there's no co-op period in it. That won't be out till May, is what I've heard.
That's
I mean,
so
open sandbox games are like perfect for co-op too, not let alone just the legacy of having co-op in Halo games. So not having it when it launches is kind of crap, and then hopefully it won't be too long. But from what they're saying, it seems like it's not going to be. It's not right around the corner by any means.
Yeah, and
well, it's super weird too, considering Halo's always kind of been one of its key features has always been the fact that you can play that campaign co-op, and just how many memories and how much fun everybody's had doing
was
that.
it Halo 2 was the first one that co-op, or did the first one also have co-op originally?
I didn't have online co-op. I think it just had split screen. But I
Yeah.
don't remember if it was the campaign.
I don't remember if Combat Evolved had, or if that's something they added in Master Chief Collection. It's been so long since I played original Combat Evolved Halo that I don't remember what it had.
Yeah.
I'll look it up because I was.
I know it had
the
the split screen multiplayer because that's why that game blew up. But I didn't remember if it had co-op for the campaign as well.
I don't know.
I'm looking. Go ahead.
Sure. But yeah, no, it's just super weird considering that's kind of always been like a selling point for Halo, and now here it's not there. It's really odd, but the story's been great so far. Like I said, looks great, runs great, at least in performance mode on Series S. I do not recommend the quality mode at all. And few bugs, but nothing game breaking. If anything, amusing stuff. I
Some
see
game
you guys.
improving because tanks
Yeah.
don't always go to the moon.
No, no, it's great that it's multi-purpose like that. It can also serve as like a rocket ship. And
Okay, yeah, it did. It had campaign co-op,
okay,
split screen, and it just of course it was original Halo wasn't online,
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
not on Xbox anyway. But Halo 2 was online co-op.
okay.
But you played both Master Chief. Both characters were Master Chief, and then like when there was be a cutscene, you would only have one Master Chief in the
Yeah.
cutscene.
Well, I mean, if they're not real time, then just pre-render one set, and if they are real time, then like save yourself the pain of trying to figure out where to put two of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like it doesn't even make sense story wise.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
One of them
whatever.
just T-posing in the corner while they wait.
Or alternatively, at the very beginning and end of a cutscene, he like goes from two into one and then splits back apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that would
make
be
it extra
hilarious.
weird.
But no, Halo Infinite has been a great time. I know I'm gonna be jumping back into it later tonight and play a little bit more of it. But it's been awesome. I love the sort of open world aspect they've done with this. It actually works surprisingly well. For something that's been traditionally linear, this works surprisingly well, and so much to uncover and find. And again, not just stuff for multiplayer, but just neat little tidbits. You can find audio logs for both the UNSC and the Banished, which are the enemies of the game, and you can find these little, because there's a big, obviously the Halo's like you know destroyed in a certain place up top, so there's a lot of pieces of it just kind of scattered throughout the grounds, and it's cool that some of them you can actually scan and get a lot of information from that as well. So it really digs deep into the lore of Halo, and it's just really cool to see, and I love collecting all the stuff, and it tells you what, like, if you go to certain areas, not every area tells you this, but certain areas that are more significant will tell you, like, hey, there's two skulls you can find here. Hey, there's four audio logs here. Hey, there's a total of one sort of what do they call it, like artifact
Hmm.
piece here that you can find, so on and so forth. So it's really cool. It's a nice little sort of checklist you can do, and the upgrade system is simple, but it works. It's really neat. I like having that sort of that RPG light aspect of Halo, and upgrading Master Chief's armor. You can upgrade his grappling hook. You can upgrade his shields. You can upgrade certain like perks and stuff like that as well. It's just really cool, and again, it gives you incentive to kind of go and explore the world. And there's a lot to see. I just wish there was more, not necessarily in terms of, like, I say a lot to see, but I just mean in terms of like real estate. I wish it was more packed with, I guess, more mysterious things. Everything's very on the surface.
Hmm.
So, you're walking by and you'll see a piece of piece of the ring, or, a bunch of just debris and just dilapidated structures and stuff like that. And I don't know, everything feels very, I don't want to say predictable, but routine, I guess. And I just wish there was more things, kind of like Breath of the Wild, where, like, you could just be walking somewhere and all of a sudden something just looks peculiar. Maybe you'll see a waterfall in it, because I feel like Zelda created this, where it's like, what's behind that waterfall? And then you'll kind of go in there. There's a cave with really neat things, and I found only one place that was like that. I found a really cool cave with like three grunts, but it killed me because when I went in there was nothing. So,
All
and
right.
I scanned and everything, and it was just a little hideout, which I guess is fine. It gives the world a little more liveliness to it, because it's just like, oh, hey, yeah, they live there, you know. But I was still kind of expecting or hoping for some sort of, like, secret material, or collectible or something like that. But yeah, there was
Right.
nothing. So I think what Breath of the Wild does so well, as well as other successful open worlds, is when you encourage curiosity and when you sort of want to make the world immersive, you also want to reward the player, because I think that gives them more incentive to keep looking around and be like, oh, well, what's over there? What will I find there? What will I find there? What will I find there? And then
Right.
they can't help but be like, oh my God, let me just check everything out. And I don't know, for me personally, if I'm designing a game, like, and I'm someone who loves environmental design, you know, like, don't you want people to end up uncovering that stuff? Otherwise, people, if you don't reward them or don't incentivize them, they just kind of dismiss it, and then there you go. All your hard work's just kind of thrown out the window.
Yeah.
So and you kind of did it for nothing. So I don't know, just make things more captivating, make things more it makes things more immersive that way, when an open world really rewards you in every corner. And again, doesn't have to give you like a bunch of currency.
Right.
Not that that applies to Halo, but just throwing out examples. You don't have to. It doesn't have to give you like this super legendary armor or whatever. But at the very least, make it the players. Make it worthwhile for the player.
Yeah.
So when they go there, it's like they're like, "Oh, I'm glad I came here. This was awesome to see." Even if they don't collect anything, it's just like just a neat little thing to look at. It could be an Easter egg. Could be, just a cool, fun little cinematic that honestly has nothing to do with anything, just something like
Right.
that,
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just something. Yeah, I would just wish there was more in terms of uh, reward for the world, but otherwise, uh, what it does have and what it does work with, it uses very well. It's a very competent, well-made open world. Um, and it doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels just right, also in terms of like
Yeah.
collectibles and things like that. Doesn't feel like it's too small. Doesn't feel like it's too much, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know,
Oh, good lord.
yeah,
And that's what I was afraid of. I think, I think that's what drags me down with Spider-Man and Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War, all those open world games that are really, really good games. I really, really like them.
They're
But
picking bad examples, John.
well, no, I'm talking about
well,
no, I'm talking
Spider-Man I think
about
does
for
it really
me
well.
for I get tired
Well,
of
like
it after a
especially with
while.
like God of War doesn't really have collectibles in that way.
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about collectibles. I'm just talking about the open world setup.
Mhm.
And you're talking about
Or that even, but yeah.
that's what I mean is Halo seems like it's just the right size. Where I
Yeah,
get 10 hours into Horizon Zero Dawn and I'm like I'm kind of done. I don't
yeah.
want
You
to.
get, I mean, you get that sense of fatigue,
Yeah,
because
and
you don't
that's what
feel
it
like you're
was with
making progress.
Spider-Man with me.
Oh,
That's why I never finished Spider-Man, was because I just
yeah.
got tired of
I mean,
running
Spider-Man
here,
is
running
just
there, running here, running
you
there.
can't do much then like, hey, look, it's New York City. Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
Yeah.
suddenly you're on the moon. You can't really do that in a Spider-Man game.
Right.
You're
Yeah. Yeah.
stuck with the
Right.
city.
But so many times
Yeah.
when games come out and they go, well, it's an open, we're doing a third person open world game. I'm like, oh man, don't
Well,
tell
that's why
me
I thought
it's
like God of War is a weird thing because it's not an open world game and it also has a lot of variety in it. And
right.
it's I would be willing to bet Halo Infinite is way bigger than that game as far as just like real estate goes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. Playing it so far, I would definitely say so. But God of War kind of took the method that the Tomb Raider games have, which is like, I love the way the Tomb Raider games are designed, where it's just like, again,
Like a
it's
hub and spokes, so like you have
exactly,
like an area you come back to, but then you go off on a mission string
yeah,
and then end up back here. But now
yeah,
you might have something that you can open because you have a new gear or something.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't overwhelm the player. I think it's a good way to sort of, you're kind of taking this a very light Metroidvania sort of flavoring to it, of coming back after you've gotten something and to unlock a new area. But these areas don't keep it. I guess my biggest problem is constant fork in the roads, where it's just like, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I go left? Do I go right? And then when you want to come back to something, you're like, oh my God, did I take a left or a right?
Right. Yeah.
So like, it's that
yeah,
constant
can't keep
fork.
track.
Yeah, exactly. So, but when you keep everything very seamlessly intricate like that, which almost feels oxymoronic, but I think kind of applies here. It works really well, and Tomb Raider did that really well, and God of War did that really well, and in the case with Spider-Man, especially not so much Miles Morales, but with the original one, anyways, the first Marvel Spider-Man by Insomniac. That game was like super easy to platinum, like super easy to platinum. Like that game had like the perfect like it was the perfect length. It had the perfect amount of just collectibles and stuff like that. And even the stuff that you did have to work for, it didn't feel exhausting. It didn't feel like it wasn't worth it, you know. So, but yeah, in the case of Valhalla, and you know, it gets too big sometimes, and almost like they're trying to overcompensate because it's like, you know, oh yeah, the base story is only really, you know, not that exciting, so we want to distract you with all of these things just to kind of make it feel like. Otherwise, if you were to just run through this, yeah, you could probably speed run it without intending to do so.
Yeah.
You know, so let's put all these distractions everywhere, you know, instead. So,
Look at all
uh,
these dots on the map, aren't they cool? Go
yeah,
look. Oh, what? It was a chicken. Why did you mark a chicken on my map or whatever? Like that's what I
yeah,
felt like playing Valhalla. Like some of those dots you'd go like, wait, that's why you put a dot on the map? All
yeah.
right. Some of them were cool, some but it's just it basically looked like someone put the game map on a wall, like a physical printout of it, went across the room with a shotgun and shot it. And then everywhere there was a hole, they ended up putting like a dot on the map. Like
Yeah,
they
it's
shot it a
true.
bunch of times. Like
Yeah,
it's so many freaking dots on that map
yeah.
in that game.
It's a
Like
great
people
metaphor.
already were complaining about how big Odyssey was, and then they're like,
Yeah,
haha, like the studios doing Valhalla was just like get a load of this one. We can do even like bigger and crazier. Look at all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
crap we put in this game. Ooh, and I was like, but it's not good to just have crap in there. You gotta have
Right.
worthwhile stuff to do that's
Exactly.
yeah. I mean,
interesting.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
some
I
of
mean,
it was, and some of it wasn't. And it was a lot more hit and miss for me for Valhalla, which was why that game was. I didn't enjoy it quite as much, even though there's
yeah.
still really fun stuff in there. Like, hey, I can dual wield axes, and that's fun.
Yeah.
I think that I get wanting to increase the longevity of your game, and you know,
Yeah,
may have a player base that's constantly coming back to it, and you know, falling in love with that world. But there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it, and I think, you know, I think one of the best examples of something like that that almost feels endless. Not that I played much of it because I've never been into the series, but I know just in terms of its historical value and how people feel about it and how much people love it, Skyrim is probably the best template for something like that. Where Skyrim, even well after you beat it, it has these uh, what's it called? You know, it reproduces quests basically. You know, and on a sort of algorithmic level where uh, you know, it just
yeah. It
kind of
has like the
takes,
randomly generated
yeah, randomly
stuff that
generated
it can
Yeah,
put
content
in
yeah,
there.
exactly.
that's the word. Yeah, randomly
Yeah.
generated.
Yeah, so like, you know, the more procedural things that are, you know, and it gives you something to do every time, you know, you're there. But in terms of like the main stuff, you know, it's there, you do it, and it doesn't like ask for too much of your time. I mean, it can and it will. God knows everybody has like hundreds of hours into that
Yeah.
game, uh but I think that was because the world was just so much fun to explore, and the world was just there was always, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, there's always something to see, right? There's always something to uncover, and I guess that's what I want for more Halo. Halo's very, I guess, like superficial. I guess I mean everything's very on the surface, but it's still an awesome time, and what they have done with it, you know, feels great. And
Hmm.
again, I haven't really felt that moment yet where I'm just like, why in the world did I come here for? You know, because you're still, you know, like I was using that grunt example earlier, like, you know, it was still cool to see it, you know, even though I didn't get anything out of it, it was still cool to see it just because number one, I wasn't expecting it, but number two, it just kind of gave a little bit of environmental storytelling because two out of the three grunts were just, they were sleeping, you know, so it's like, oh, well, they probably really live here, you know, and then maybe there's their day off or something like that. I don't know. It just kind of gives them a little more personality, I
Right.
guess. Yeah.
But what if you went behind that waterfall and there was a cave that had a space Starbucks run by grunts? Wouldn't that be even like crazier and cooler?
I'd have to stop
Sure.
by and ask.
Or unexpected, man. Come on.
Well, Dennis, you were talking about performance mode. I pulled up the Digital Foundry video real quick.
Okay.
Performance is 1080p with dynamic resolution, 1706 by 960, all the way up to 1920 by 1080. The
Okay.
quality mode, where'd it go? Let me, is locked 1080p, but it's at 30 frames a second. So it's not
Okay.
dynamic. So that's the two differences in quality and
Yeah, I don't
performance.
mind losing that. We're going 1080 to 960, so like, I don't mind losing that, you know, 120 frames or whatever for
Right, to
like,
have it at
yeah,
60. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, or 120 pixels rather. So you have to have it at 60, and yeah, the quality mode, I don't know what it is because I've been playing Forza in quality mode, and the 30 frames does not bother me there, which you would think because it's a racing game. It's super high speed. It's, you would want that fluidity, but it like feels and looks really, really great. But Halo, for some reason, the quality mode is super choppy. So I leave it on performance mode. But again, performance mode looks and looks just as good as quality mode. I really don't see that much of a difference. So,
Yeah, and I
um,
could see that at that, with that, it doesn't seem
yeah,
like it would be
like I
too
think
much.
that pixel deficit is just so marginal that it's like it's not gonna bother
Well,
people.
it's kind of telling that if you have a quality mode that's just 1080 and it's choppy, they're just like, yeah, maybe you could have had a better engine or something. Because, like,
Yeah,
you would want to aim for 1440 if you're
of
on, like,
course,
the
yeah.
S, right? Like, for your
That's what I
quality.
thought it
That's
would
like,
Right.
that'd be the same for the X, would be like, it's 4K, or it's like, locked there at the 30. We've got all the textures turned up, and then you get lose some resolution or whatever when you knock it to performance to get the extra frames. So if you're like
Right.
effectively sort of the same resolution, it's kind of
Well,
like,
and see,
great,
yeah,
thanks.
and
exactly.
that's quality on the Series X is dynamic resolution, 60 frames a second,
Yeah.
4K. So it's 1440p to full 4K. But it's dynamic. I haven't got to the
Yeah.
part where the trying to find what the or the performance is.
What it sounds like is they've put their focus for getting the X to work really well, but they didn't do the same for the S in that, like, the two modes would have as big of a difference between the
Yeah.
two.
Right.
Well, mind you, this game's also playable on Xbox One, right? And I have
Yep.
no idea what that one's like. Especially if you're on the base Xbox One, God
Yeah.
bless you.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
knows what
and
you're doing?
that's what this video says here. That's what I was. Oh, I
It's
don't.
definitely not the same story as when Forza came out, and it's all like, hey, it runs
Yeah,
well no matter what you play it on. Sure, there's differences if you put it side to
Right.
side, but if that's
that
the
team.
console you got, it's gonna be great. And here it sounds like there are some drawbacks
Yeah.
potentially.
Performance mode on Series X is 1440p dynamic resolution to get the 120 frames. So it's 1564 by 960 to 1440p,
Yeah,
which
but so there's just two modes, and it just has 60 and 120 for the X, and it's 30, 60 for the
Mhm,
S.
right.
pretty
Okay,
much. Yeah.
Correct. And like I said, to me, I
seems
can't
weird.
tell. I can't tell the 120. I just can't. But like I said, maybe that's just
Well,
because.
judging by how it's running on the S or whatever, maybe it's not actually hitting 120.
Well, it may
Yeah.
not be. It may not even be getting it on the X. In all places. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I can't really tell the difference.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
but
maybe your TV isn't in 120, John.
no, it's in
User
120
error. No.
all the
I would
time.
assume it is. Yeah, I'm just being
You can do the
dumb.
Yeah, I
calibration on
never.
the Xbox,
I
right? You have all the
never.
green check marks.
Yeah. Oh, I've got all green check marks up and
Okay,
down.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and I have VRR,
Yeah, the
variable refresh
variable.
rate. Yeah,
Yeah,
Variable
VRR.
refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, all
That
that's
does help as far as, like, if you're not at a steady frame rate that's moving up and down, smooth that out so that you're not
yeah,
seeing it unless you're
yeah,
measuring it with a tool.
right.
right.
But yeah, this comparison even does the Xbox One. That's why I'm trying to get to the part where they have the looks like it goes up and down between 1080p and 720. Um, maybe 30 frames. I don't know. This isn't the video I watched. I watched the other one. This one only came out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of scrubbing through here to when I see the performance thing. But
That does add a bunch of difficulty for your game, though, if you have to make it work on that many
yeah,
kind of variety of
I,
hardware, four different
I
consoles,
just
essentially.
I just paused on the load thing. So 12 seconds, almost 13 seconds to load on the Series X, almost 17 seconds on the S. On the Xbox One, it's 61 seconds, and on the One X, it's 60 seconds. It's like that's still pretty quick. 60
Yeah.
seconds. That kind of surprises me. I figured it would be which I haven't even seen a loading thing yet on the game.
So I only ever see loading really when I die. Otherwise, when I'm out in the world,
Yeah.
like the moment I load up that game, like nope, no loading screens until my next death,
Yep,
basically.
that's
So
pretty much all I've seen.
yeah,
So
and it loads not necessarily quick, but it doesn't take too long either. But I think out of all the games I've played on the new console so far, this one seems to be the one that's taken the longest to load. But again, once you're in that world, you don't see a loading screen ever again.
right.
So
Oh, here we go. So Xbox One, 1080p dynamic resolution, so 720 to 1080 at 30 frames a second is the Xbox One. So, which doesn't surprise me. The One X is probably a little better, but I bet it's not.
there's so much to scale there. It's crazy. They must have spent so much time like just having to accommodate for all the different specs.
Yeah.
After watching they actually have a quality and performance mode on the One X. So, according to this, really.
I mean, that makes sense too, because that's a lot of last gen games had that was the extra feature on the X was having that.
The One X is still beefy.
mode.
I mean, I think the One X still has more teraflops than the Series S, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But just teraflops. The Series S is overall obviously stronger.
Okay,
better,
so there you go. Performance mode on the One X is 1440p dynamic resolution, 720 to 1440 at 60 frames a second. It's not bad.
720 to 1440. That's a decent range.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
Upscaling that 720 to 1440 is going to look a little blurry, I think.
Yeah,
probably.
It's going to be pretty jarring too, actually.
Hopefully, it doesn't dip that far too often.
Yeah. But I can't wait to see when they finally get away from having to make games for last gen. As well, if we're done talking about Halo, you've tried the Matrix.
It'll take a while, I think, because I don't know. I think it's because of all the shortages and it being a little bit. Even though there's lots of the newer consoles out there, they're still not just like, hey, you can go and get one anywhere you want.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not to that point yet, so I don't know.
And you really even can't get those consoles. Well, they don't make them anymore, so that's why you can't get them.
But there's a lot more out in terms of like the installed base is bigger, and then not only that, but I think I just don't think financially it's worth the risk just yet to alienate an entire player base like that. So
especially Sony with the 120 million PlayStation 4s out there. Yeah, however much it is. Xbox maybe not so much.
Xbox still has millions. Like
they
you
do.
take that
I know,
chunk out, like it still counts for a lot.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, though, with the with the One and the One X, especially the One. I mean, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, and you have good internet, just stream it. Just stream those games, and you'll get the Series X version, of it. So you'll get the load time, you'll get the, you'll get that next gen feel of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
or at least a step above in between. Probably.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, the original Xbox One is really underpowered. I mean, compared to the PS4. I mean,
it's old too, so it's like. You can only do so much when the hardware design is that old.
Yeah, but I haven't played the Matrix Awakens tech demo, whatever.
I didn't realize it was publicly available to download.
Yeah,
so.
it's on PS5 and Series X or S. And I downloaded it last night, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Yeah, I preloaded it a couple of days ago when I heard it went live because it's free. Anybody you don't have to pay for it. And it's awesome, but again, it's a tech demo, so don't expect much out of it. It's just meant to kind of showcase the engine. Like, it's not a real game.
I watched a run through of it that was not from the Game Awards. That was someone playing through it, and I was looking. I was like, it looks like a cool tech demo that's still a bit janky for certain things, and other things it looks really good. But then also the frame rate is very low.
It is.
For like, if this was an actual like video game, people would be complaining about it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, what were they? Do you know what they were playing it on, Nathaniel? Were they playing it on PS5?
Series X.
Series X. Okay, cool.
The video I watched was on the Series X.
Gotcha. Well, the reason I asked was because I saw the tweet this morning that the Coalition helped a lot with the Xbox version of that demo. So I was kind of wondering what system they were playing it on. I didn't know.
But yeah, I watched it go through the whole weird, awkward meta, like pre-rendered whatever. I guess it's running in real time, but pre-made thing that you go through that they had at the Game Awards, and then they also were walking around the city and stuff that you can apparently do after that's done. And you can even drive the cars, but the physics are weird. They looked weird in the video anyway.
Yeah, it's weird to control. I crash all the time. All the time.
Maybe they want you to, because look, everything dents real pretty.
Yeah, maybe.
But like I say, I've downloaded it. I'm going to fire it up.
It's worth checking out. It's definitely going to blow your mind. It is beautiful to look at, and but yeah, I think there's still optimization to be done, and I think once, I mean, I know it's out right now. Only a very few select studios have it at the moment.
Yeah, and it's only been available what, a year, 6 months,
if that.
It's not been very long. Yeah. So to make a tech demo like that and even have the jankiness and stuff, that seems crazy to me.
It's a much less polished tech demo than the ones that Unreal they put out themselves for originally when they were revealing the engine and stuff. Those are much more super polished. We're running through it. Look how cool and speedy and crazy this is. And then the Matrix one is especially since people can actually play, hey, look at these rough edges in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised actually when they dropped you into the world, because I thought, as any tech demo is, it's usually not longer than 10, 15 minutes. It just wants to show you all the cool things and just blast it all in one go. And it was awesome. And again, it was it just looked gorgeous. But once the Unreal 5 logo came up, I was just like, oh, that's cool. But then it started panning down, showing the city a little bit, and then the black bars, the cinematic black bars, all of a sudden went away, and then it becomes an over-the-shoulder shot of you with what looks like the character. I forgot what her name was, Naomi, maybe, that Jada Pinkett Smith played in the Matrix movies. I don't know if she just looked like her. I don't know if it's actually supposed to be her.
I don't think it's her from the video. It looks like a different character wearing a similar outfit to me, but I don't know what the intention was.
Okay. Yeah, I was just confused because I know they got a new Morpheus for this new movie, so I didn't know if this was a new actor for.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not Jada Pinkett Smith. But I don't know if it's supposed to be the same character or not. No idea.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, it just became an over-the-shoulder shot, and I was like, oh my god, I can move. What? This is crazy. So I started moving, and I was walking for a solid 10 minutes, and again, it's a tech demo, right? I didn't expect this world to be big. I was expecting to just hit a invisible wall at some point, or just it's some telling me you can't go this way, or whatever. But it just kept going and going and going. And then I noticed there was a fly button, so I started flying, and it took me into this camera pan mode where you can just kind of go up and around all you want, and you can speed up and speed down. And I was just like, let me just go forward. I just kept going and going and going and going and going and going, and turns out, when I was looking at the spec sheet for it, apparently the size of that map, first of all, it's super detailed. The city looks incredible, but it is slightly larger than downtown Los Angeles, the real downtown Los Angeles. So it's a big, big map, and you feel the sort of the gargantuan scale of it. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, there's not much to do in it. There's no collectibles or anything like that. You just walk around the city, and then that's basically it. Again, it's not a real game, so don't expect to find things. There's no quests or anything like that. Just walk around and look at the graphics. That's all it really wants you to do. Really, just look at the graphics and see how
that's all it was.
But
I'm anxious to try it. See what it looks like on the big screen.
Yeah, you can even from the video I was watching, you can toggle on different stuff, looking at all the triangles, so that you can see the whatever the stupid name is in there for how it optimizes that and how it changes when you're moving.
Yeah.
It looks cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. I spent maybe 2 hours on it, even though it was only 15 minutes long. But I had so much fun just looking at the city and looking at all these cool architecture, and there's a photo mode in there, so you take a couple photos too. It's a little, on Series S anyways, it's a little blurrier than I feel like it should be, but but otherwise you could still get the idea of wow, this is insane tech, like insane. So, but once it becomes more readily available to all these like studios, though, I mean, we're gonna see. This is the first time I think I saw a game, or this demo here is the first time I've seen something and gone, okay, like when I think next gen, this is what I'm thinking of.
Right. Yeah.
This is like truly next gen. So outside of Hellblade 2, which when they showed that trailer, not I know they showed a new trailer at Game Awards, and we'll get around to that. But like when they first showed Hellblade 2, like years and years ago, however 2 years ago,
2 years ago.
um, that like, my God, the fact that that was in engine was like that was insane. Like
Yeah.
that was insane. Like that between Hellblade 2 and The Matrix Awakens, those two are the ones that I look at and go, okay, yeah, no, this is next gen. Like this is the future right here. This is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Hellblade here after a while. But anything else that you've been playing that you want to talk
Yeah,
about real quick for Nathaniel?
yeah, yeah. Just lastly, because I know we touched on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond earlier. Like I know I'm still playing that, but yeah, I beat it actually. Good game, great game. I mean, again, it was one of those situations. Don't fix what's not broken.
Right.
If you like Gold Diamond, you're gonna love this new one. And and yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it because I know we talked about it on the last podcast as
Yeah.
well. This came out, so and I went pretty in depth then. But yeah, I've beaten it now, and it's great. I like it much better than Sword and Shield, but I know a lot of people will argue with me on that. But it felt more like what Pokemon to me should be.
Yeah.
Sword and Shield I feel like was for babies. So it's. Uh, but
But
Brilliant
what
Diamond.
if they made an actual like adult Pokemon game? They never would because it's Pokemon, because that's not what that franchise is about. But what if it's just like it was Monster Hunter or something? It's like not even that adult, but like Monster Hunter, but with Pokemon.
I feel like the closest we got to that was probably Detective Pikachu, just because of the dark themes that they had in there. People's like
Yeah.
parents dying, and like
Well, what about this new one coming out in January? I mean, it
oh,
kind of
Arceus?
looks that way. I mean, to
Yeah,
me, it does. It looks more Breath of the Wild than it does
yeah. I'm super
Pokemon.
excited for that one. That one's gonna be refreshing because it's like a new take on Pokemon. I've been saying for like years and years and years and years and years that like one of the best Pokemon games to me wasn't even a mainline title. It was one of the spin-offs, which is Pokemon Ranger. I loved all those
I
Pokemon
did
Ranger games.
too.
Those were awesome because it felt, I don't know, it felt like a true adventure to me, and just being able to put more emphasis on the characters rather than the Pokemon themselves. The Pokemon were more so of just like help you, well, like HMs basically, like they were just
Yeah.
like, dig, open this door, light the place up with flash, whatever. But otherwise, it just felt like your sort of general RPG that was more based on your
Mhm.
character. Like you were the focus, the story was centered. I mean, still around Pokemon, but there was a big emphasis on you, kind of like in what's that mobile game, Pokemon Masters, where like they put a big emphasis on all the trainers. Like when you collect, new uh new like squad members, the big graphic is usually the trainer, and then like a small little circle or whatever there's like the Pokemon, because the trainers are the ones that they really want to
Right.
showcase this time around. And Pokemon Ranger felt like that too. Not to mention the worlds were beautiful and the stories were awesome, and I just missed those games, man. Those were amazing. So Arceus feels like it's going to be like an awesome spin-off that kind of takes a little more creative liberty of just like, let's just go crazy with Pokemon instead of getting you from level 1 to 100 within the first patch.
What if they
Right.
did a Pokemon game that was like this weird alternate universe where the Pokemon are trying to collect trainers? So you're capturing trainers and Pokeballs. They just flip the roles.
That would be. I would play that game. I,
Oh, I would
I
love
don't know how
to.
you'd make that into a good game. It's just a dumb concept that I think is amusing.
dumb but hilarious concept. I would play that.
I mean, it'd be at least slightly new than some of the other Pokemon games that just keep trying the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm interested in that new one. I don't. I was going to pre-order it. I haven't. I'll probably wait and see what some of the reviews are. See what you think of it, Dennis, before I go
Yeah,
out
I'll
and
be
buy
there
it.
day
But
one. So, but yeah, no, I'm very excited.
What if they made a Pokemon survival horror game? I don't know how you do it, but just picking genres that don't seem like Pokemon and making a Pokemon game out of it. Like, let's experiment. Come on.
You can make
yeah,
that. There's a lot of creepy things actually that happen in the Pokemon universe that a lot of people don't realize. So I think they could definitely expand upon that. Make it like you can make family friendly horror. Look at Luigi's Mansion. That's like a family friendly
Sure.
horror.
Yeah.
You know that. So
Or you could take the cartoony Pokemon designs and then just make what if they were like realistically, made out of real creature parts? They
Yeah.
would a lot of them would be very creepy just by doing that. Change the design aesthetic. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, why not?
But yeah, I mean, over the course of the last couple of years, I've really since post X and Y, I've found myself enjoying the spin-offs a lot more than the mainline games. I don't really
Mm.
get excited as much anymore for mainline games, just because I don't know. I just don't know what just the direction that Game Freak is heading is just I don't know what the hell they're doing. But at least the spin-offs and stuff with the way they've been licensing them out. Also, like Bandai Namco actually has been killing it lately because they're the ones responsible for Pokemon Tournament, which was awesome, and then they did the new Pokemon Snap, awesome. And then Brilliant Diamond, cool. Also not done by Game Freak.
Right, yeah, they
So
were.
and the Pokemon Cafe, not done by Game Freak. Pokemon Unite, not done by Game Freak. So I'm liking these spin-offs so much more, and because I don't know, I guess they just feel refreshing and graphically also, someone knows how to use some anti-aliasing techniques, which
Yeah,
is really nice.
exactly. That's what we said last week
Yeah,
with it. It
so
was like, ooh, or last show was like, oh look, no Jaggies.
yeah.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a sight to behold. I feel like Game Freak, they're still, I think, in the mindset of developing games for the DS.
Yeah,
Not realizing that you have this hardware that is significantly stronger and you can do so much more with. Just because you made it 3D doesn't mean you're finished here. Let's smooth
right.
this out. Pretty this up. Let's add some shading. Come on, come on. Look at all these options here in this engine. Use them,
Hey,
please use
what
them.
if you did more than the bare minimum? What? So crazy.
What?
What a wonderful
No,
idea.
I don't think
Like
so.
I'm
No.
I said this about Sword and Shield and I mean it. And I think with the right tools, you could easily downscale Sword and Shield to run on at least maybe not the base ones, but at least the new Nintendo 3DSs. I feel like
Mm.
just because of how they just don't look or seem demanding at all. I'm sure there's a lot happening behind the scenes in terms of like processing and usages and whatnot. But I don't know. I just feel like you could downscale it enough to make it run on the new one through the new Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah.
So the one with a little extra horsepower, that one. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that studio. I think they just need a new set of people because I think the people who have been there since day one. I mean, they built a beautiful thing. They really did. But I think after like 2010, they're like, where do we take it from here?
Yeah.
Trick question. We don't. Uh,
I don't know, man. Let's just put out a cardboard box with the word Pokemon on it and people
yeah,
will buy it.
Oh yeah.
exactly. It's it's gonna be like 2048, and it's still gonna look like how it does now. It's kills
Oh,
me.
no.
And still no voice acting, by the way. No voice acting
Yeah.
still. Like, do you know how like lively and amazing Pokemon Masters feels on mobile? Just like everything just feels more animated and just more alive. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing, and I'm not asking for everything to be fully voiced, but a couple lines here and there, at least a couple of grunts, right? Like a couple of things that you hear in like general RPGs of just people just going like huh, and then like
Mm.
you see like,
Uh-huh.
text that kind of like is in the form of a question, and then be like well and then like the text that kind of sort of complements the sort of reaction that they're having,
Right.
at
Oh.
least
Oh.
that, yeah, stuff like that, simple stuff. I'll do it right now. You could clip what I just did and
Yeah.
post it. That's free. Do that. I don't care anything. Just my lord, just put some effort into it, man. You know what I mean? Like because and the thing is, we've seen what the Switch is capable of. Again, going back, Pokemon
Mhm.
Tournament, you can see the fur on these Pokemon. The fur, I see each individual hair. You go to Pokemon Snap again by Bandai Namco. It's awesome. The beautiful graphics of it. Pokemon Unite looks great, even though it's like small scale because of it's a MOBA, so
Right.
the angling is a little bit different, but still awesome to look at, awesome to see, awesome to play. Um, Like, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Like, I don't understand. Like, I just remember reading an article a long time ago of them being like, well, we want the players to have their own voice in their head. Where it's like, well, everybody sounds like me.
Well, yeah.
Like, I'm facing Cynthia, Nessa, all of them, and it's like, why is your voice so deep? Oh, because it's my
Oh, it's because
voice.
it's me.
Like, that's why.
I mean,
when I'm
as
playing
much
it,
as it annoys me, I get that for like a silent protagonist or something, but what about all the other characters?
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, silent protagonist, one thing, totally fine. Completely fine. But yeah, just liven it up a little bit, man. You got a studio, use it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
what you have 100+ people on your team, and there are indie games with 3 people that are doing more than you're doing. It's ridiculous. What does that say?
Yeah.
What does that say? You get too complacent. That's what it is. Just with you get it's a $1 billion corporation. It's one of those things, kind of like Star Wars, where it's just like, look, no matter what, this will sell. So why put too much effort when we'll make the same amount of cash? It's just
True.
put the logo on it, and regardless of what the subtitle is, regardless of how it's marketed, you're still going to sell 1 million copies.
Well, I have 6 different versions of Boba Fett. Even.
But it's the same thing with Pokemon. It's like there's certain franchises that are just immune, to any sort of financial sort of decay, if you will.
Yeah.
And Pokemon's one of
Or
them.
at the very least, they know that they have like this amount bare minimum
Oh, of course.
without any
Right.
effort.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I don't know. I guess for someone who's been there since the beginning, it's like, I remember having those moments of awe with the DS and the 3DS of being like, oh my God, look how far we've come. I don't get that anymore. The last time I had that was probably Pokken Tournament on Wii U. But in terms of like the base games, like the mainline Pokemon games, I haven't felt that way since X and Y. And X and Y came out in 2013, I want to say.
Something like
So,
that. Yeah.
like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Where's the innovation? Where's the excitement? Where's that want to sort
At
of push?
at this point, as long as they keep selling millions of copies of it, what's their incentive to change it? That's the whole thing. It's just going to come down to one of these days when people go, "Well, I'm not buying it because I want this."
I think that's
the
a scary
same
thing.
reason they put out two in quotes versions every time they release a game because they know they can sell it.
Oh yeah,
and multiple people will buy both.
Yeah.
Well, and usually I buy both, but usually it's one for me and one for Nikki. But this time she was like, she didn't play. I bought Sword and Shield, the 2-pack. She never even. I took Sword and she took Shield. She never even booted Shield up. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy Diamond and Pearl again. I'm only going to buy it for me because if you're not going to play it, then I'm not going to buy both copies of it.
But yeah, I think, but that's the scary thing is like you got to be mindful of your properties like that, because I think you do get to a point where it can all of a sudden crash because people are all if you do the same thing over and over again, it will get to that point where everyone at the same time will be like, man, this again, and then that's it, and then it'll just crash because again, this will be a simultaneous thing. This won't be a gradual thing. This will it will spike. And you got to keep that interest. You got to think of some of the biggest things in the world. Some of the biggest companies in the world had moments like that, right? Where Lego, for example, let's use Lego as an example. Lego they started, I don't know, maybe in like the 50s, 60s, something like that, like long time ago. And they went up, up, and up and up. And the toy market at the time actually wasn't doing good, but they kind of revitalized it, kind of similarly how Nintendo did for the video game industry back in the 80s, right? So after the video game crash happened. But then there was a time around maybe like the early 2000s, believe it or not, and this is crazy to think about just because of how we know Lego to be now, and everybody loves Lego and owns some sort of Lego product, whether it's a game or the actual toy or a pop or whatever. But they were on the verge of bankruptcy, and not
And
only
they sold out.
Yeah.
Actually, funny enough, I think what got them back was actually licensing.
It was licensing. It was Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. That's right.
It was Star
Yeah,
Wars.
it's definitely all the licensing, and then that's definitely what brought them back, and that's why I don't care about any Lego toy sets anymore, because it's like that's not what Lego was supposed to be about. It's all the creativity,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Yeah,
You're not just supposed to be like, look, I made this exact replica of a thing out there that's from some licensed property that I like.
Well, and that's like
That's what model sets are for, not Lego, man.
every year I buy my great nephew a Lego set. He loves them. So we buy him some kind of themed Lego set, whether it's Star Wars, Harry Potter, or whatever. He puts them together the first time and goes, wow, that looks really cool and awesome. Look what I made. Then he tears them apart and puts them all in a big box.
Yeah.
Because he has a huge tub of Lego. And then what's he do the rest of the time? He just takes them out and makes whatever he wants. He'll make the one thing, the set the one time, and then
I mean, that's good that they're still doing that. That's what I would do as a kid, except they weren't licensed things then, because that didn't exist.
Right.
So it's like, hey, I built this cool spaceship. Let me tear this apart and put it with all my other spaceship parts and see what big giant spaceship I can build now.
And that's what he does. Right? In fact, I even found an app on the iPhone and sent it to him and said, have him use this, and you could take a pile of Legos and hold your camera over it, take a picture of it, and it will give you ideas of what you can make out of that pile of Legos. It will say you could make a bird, you could make this, you could make that.
Sure.
If he ever gets bored, you could do. But that's what he does. I mean, we buy him these big, extravagant Star Wars sets and stuff, and yeah, he puts the TIE Fighter together, sends us a picture, and goes, "Look, I put this together. Yeah, it's great. I love it. Looks good. You did a good job. All right." Then he takes it all apart. Yep, puts it in his thing, and he makes. Then we'll call him in a couple of weeks. He'll go, look at this spaceship I made, or look at this town I made, or look at this I made. Because even though he has the sets, I would not want to go through his Legos and try to find all those little intricate pieces that they have to make those sets again, because they're just everywhere. And that's fine. Hey, he's 6 years old. It's what you want to do when you're 6 years old. Who cares?
Put them all together in a creative way. That's like an expression of your creativity is the whole point of Lego.
Yep.
And then
build things, man.
Like they crashed. You got to look at Marvel. Marvel was going bankrupt. That's why, they started.
That's why Sony owned Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Right, because they were like, "Look, we need the money, man. Like, we'll give you this, we'll give you that." They were doing
Sega. I mean, Sega's with the Sonic games. Sonic was big, and then all of a sudden they started making these crappy Sonic games, and people went, "Well, I'll buy them." Oh, they're kind of crappy.
And then they kept making crappy Sonic games.
And then they kept making them. Time. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it was like people quit buying them. It was like, and now they're finally starting to kind of make decent.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm not saying that they're way up high, but they're a lot better than they were a few years ago. Sonic Generations is a great game.
Yeah.
I'm more talking about the trailer from the Game Awards, but we'll get there.
Oh, Frontiers.
Oh, that one, Frontiers. I know nothing. To me, that was nothing but a cinematic trailer. It's like,
it told me nothing.
It's not that about it. It's like, look, we have bright blue cartoony Sonic in a semi-realistic environment. That makes no sense. That's stupid. Why aren't you matching the environment to him? Look at the original Sonic games and how hey, you can do some cool, fun stuff. If your goal is to make this cool looking photorealistic grass in this, thing that does not, he just sticks out. It looks like the Sonic movie does, where Sonic is this bright blue cartoon character with everybody else who's live action, except it's the video game. So, why are you trying to replicate that in the video game? That's dumb. It didn't make sense to me. But
might have another Sonic 06 on their hands, honestly.
And you're also just he runs a few places, and it's okay, you're showing me nothing about what this actual game would be, and it looks dumb what you are showing me. So it's show me something new. Maybe I'll get excited about it.
Right.
It'll take a lot from, and then I'm not that huge of, I haven't played a Sonic game forever. So it'll take a lot to get even me excited. I am coming from a negative space anyway, I will admit. It was still just more like the visuals of it to me coming from my background, where it's just like, yeah, no, that doesn't mesh,
Yeah.
guys. That's dumb. Like you're doing two different art designs here, and they don't go together.
Give me a E3 video and their trailer. You know, when you're showing me actual gameplay, and maybe I'll be whatever. Yeah, it's fine. So, Dennis,
Are
did you
there
play?
rings? Can I collect them? Is
Yeah.
it even a Sonic game if there's no rings in the trailer? What is this?
Is this another advertisement for the movie? It's
What are you saying, John?
I was
be.
going to
Who
say,
knows?
yeah, who knows? I was going to say, did you play anything else?
Oh yeah, lastly, I've actually been playing Disney Magical World 2. I got that one sent to me. And that one's actually been a surprising amount of fun. I didn't play the original ones on 3DS. But I thought this was gonna be kind of some like shovelware Disney game, but no, it's like deep and it's awesome, and like I'm recommending it to everybody. So if you guys want to buy that, go ahead and buy it. It's great. But yeah, no, you basically run your own cafe, which is really awesome. It's just one of those like management sims,
Oh,
and
okay.
but you're in Disney World, and it's awesome. You can go through these portals and meet all these other Disney characters. That's kind of the quickness of it. There's not really much to explain outside of that, honestly, because it is just that you kind of have an almost Animal Crossing-esque atmosphere, except think of your villagers as the Disney characters, and people come in and out of your cafe all the time, and as you're running that, and you make money that way, and yeah. So it's
Hey,
got
Stitch, you want a mocha?
Yeah.
Please
but yeah,
don't.
that's
You'll
basically
break everything.
everything I've been.
Don't give Stitch caffeine. Bad idea.
Yeah. All right. So, Nathaniel, I see a trend of what you've been playing since it's.
Yeah, trend. It continued from last time. I finished Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider reboot, whatever. I did not 100% it, but I finished the story. And then I moved on to Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I finished that. I did 100% Rise of the Tomb Raider because it's my favorite of the three, new ones.
Yeah.
And I have beaten that game. This is the third time that I've completed that game. The second time that I've 100%ed that game. That's how much I like Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's just so much fun to play. And playing them back to back too is kind of interesting, seeing the jumps that they're able to make. So Tomb Raider is still fun, but it's showing its age a lot with just the amount of just animations and like just quality to it. And then you go into Rise of the Tomb Raider and like, oh, they added a whole lot here, both with kind of like gameplay mechanics and just how much the movement feels better in that game versus the original Tomb Raider reboot. They also have like a reason to hunt animals and stuff in that game because you get materials to craft things, and they have a whole much more robust system in Rise of the Tomb Raider. And then like there's just like the story in that game's pretty fun. It's still, it's a video game story, but as far as just kind of video game stories go, it's a decent one.
Right.
The acting is good. The animation on the characters is good for the time that was made. I forget when Rise came out. It was like 2015, 14? Or maybe, I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Because I think, and I could be just completely wrong here, that the Tomb Raider reboot was like 2012 or something like that.
Something.
I don't know. I need to look them up. But yeah, there was a bit of time in between each of them anyway. So I finished Rise of the Tomb Raider. I even played like the some of the DLC for it. So you have the in-game Baba Yaga DLC that added kind of like an extra area of the map, and then they have like a thing in the Croft Manor that's like a couple hour DLC kind of story thing where you're going through and finding certain stuff and unlocking different rooms in there. In kind of like a semi-ruined Croft Manor because it's got storm damage.
Yeah.
I think it's meant to be like no one's really lived there for a long time, and then you're looking for stuff so that you don't lose it because you inherited it as Lara Croft, and like your uncle's trying to steal it from you or something. And you're finding a bunch of just different like letters from Lara's parents around the house and like different things, and it's just kind of like a, hey, cool, Croft Manor's awesome. Do you want to explore it? Hey, but it's broken down this time, not like in the older games when you're running around doing like weird platforming puzzles and whatnot. Like, so I don't know, it's fun. But yeah, like Rise of the Tomb Raider's great, even outside of all the stupid multiplayer crap that they added in that game. It's like Tomb Raider reboot is just single player, I think. I have to go back into it, but yeah, it's mostly like, the single player story. Then Rise of the Tomb Raider is hey, single player story, but hey, you collect all these cards to do this other like score attack stuff, and then there's I don't remember. I think there's multiplayer, and then like by the time you get to Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it's very much just like Square Enix is like every game must jam multiplayer into it kind of era of that company
Right.
that we're still not quite out of yet.
Yeah, that's true.
And then so yeah, I finished Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I've started Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Played maybe the first I don't know 2-3 hours. I'm pretty much just past the intro part.
Yeah, I want to go back and play those again. Maybe not
Yeah.
play them all the way through, but at least play them to see how well they're running on next gen.
Well, the first two are not optimized for Series X at all, so they're
Okay.
still running in like
So
1080. But
yeah.
you can choose. You still get like the Xbox One X. I'm assuming it was on there. You can choose between performance and quality mode.
Yeah.
At least in Rise, I don't remember if the original one. I don't think the original one had options, but it still was running at 60, I think. But Shadow of the Tomb Raider has been optimized, and you can tell when that like going straight from Rise to that one, you can like, oh, there's a resolution bump. I can see, a lot. It's a lot sharper, and there's a lot more detail in the textures and stuff. Not that Rise looks bad because it's still a great looking game, but by the
Right.
time you're like, oh yeah, like that many more pixels on screen does make a difference going from 1080 to 4K. Weird.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
Weird.
I don't remember if I played that one or not. I want to say that I did.
So Shadow starts out, well, like what you'd remember from it is that they show off is like the little Mexican village on Day of the Dead is kind of the demo-y part of that game where she's walking through and they're showing off some of the lighting and ray tracing stuff. That's what you would have seen from that game. That's very early on in at the very beginning.
I can't remember, to be quite honest with you.
Like you start, it has kind of like a opening chapter type thing that's maybe an hour or two. Well, it depends on if you've played it before, you can run through it pretty quickly. But you like kind of go through, and there's like you're following some guy from the Trinity thing, and then you end up getting into this kind of ruin and stealing this artifact, and oh no, things go wrong, and the town floods. It's kind of like the very beginning of that game, like the first hour or so.
Maybe I did
And then
play that.
And then it's like a little bit of time jump. You're like, oh, okay, we need to go here in order to stop them. And then like you have a plane crash and you're in a jungle and you're like the jungle areas, the part that you spend the majority of the game in. Just different areas.
I don't remember any of that, so maybe I didn't play
Yeah.
it. I'd have to look back. I know I may not even bought that one. Maybe that's why I didn't play it.
Yeah. Shadow I didn't enjoy as much, but it's still really good, still worth playing. But it's kind of like Rise is the perfect kind of mix. It's sort of like if you can compare it to kind of like the Batman Arkham games, in that like Arkham Asylum was pretty focused and it had a smaller area, and then like City had a bigger area and added some mechanics. And then by the time you get to the third one, they've added more mechanics, and you're just like twisting your hand around from too many button combos that you can't even remember anyway because they've just added so much stuff to it. Kind of the same way with these. And by the time you get to Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it's like, oh, you can collect materials to do some crafting, but we've added like 4 or 5 or 6 or however many more types of materials you can get. And there's more little collectible things to find and more of this and that. And none of it's bad. It's just it's adding a little bit more to where there's like it doesn't even feel like bloat. It's still well done. It just feels like there's a little bit more than you would maybe want in this type of a game. At least to me, it did when I played it originally. I'll see how I feel this time going through. But yeah, it's fun. They're really well made. I hope that we get another kind of new Tomb Raider game soonish.
Well, we're due. I mean,
yeah, it's like it's been a while. I like Shadow's not that old at this point, but it's still like it's been long enough that like they should, hopefully even announce one soon enough. Whether it actually comes out soon, who knows? But
Shadow of the Tomb
I don't know.
Raider was September 12th, 2018. So
yeah, 2018. So it was like we're in 2021 now. Announce a new Tomb Raider, please. Come on.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but I guess it has. Yeah. So, what was that?
Yeah, I'm sure they're probably working on one, or at least have the concept for one, and maybe they took a break because they're developing something else. I have no idea. I haven't looked into it. I'm just like, playing these again, it's like, these are really good. I want another one.
They're busy with Avengers. They're just too busy with Avengers.
Oh,
Much
blow
more
up
important,
Avengers
yeah.
and go back to the real games. Tomb Raider's like way cooler than Avengers, man.
I
Yeah.
agree. Give me all the Tomb Raider forever and always.
Screw your superpowers.
Yeah.
I want dual wielding climbing axes so I can climb that icy wall and then like slip down halfway through because there's a scripted event where it cracks and I fall down a bit and like barely hang on. Like that's what I want.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
When you can just fly, there's no danger. Come on, man. We've got to be climbing cliffs and like stealth killing bad guys with arrows to the knee and whatever.
There's the risk.
I mean, there are some really cool moves in that game when you do that. Like you upgrade your dodge move to where you can add like the automatic kills and stuff to it, or you get the mastery for the other ones. So when you do your finishers, it's like, oh, you're using the bow this time or the shotgun or whatever.
Yeah.
There's some fun. There's some fun stuff in those games.
Yeah.
The only other thing I played was Archvale because it's on Game Pass, and I felt like playing some tiny little something that day. So I've played a couple hours of it. Maybe I don't remember how long I played. I made some decent progress. It's kind of feels like take a Zelda like old school 2D Zelda sprite based game, but make it a lot more bullet hell type enemies where there's just a lot more projectiles on the screen that you got to like dodge or weave around or whatever. It's not all completely.
That's bullet hell's what I've heard a lot. It was a meshing of like bullet hell and an RPG, a traditional RPG or something like that. So
it's very much trying to be a Zelda game as far as that goes because you have like I think it's 5 or 6 things that you have to get like rocks for better or I forget what the game actually calls it, but like collect these things and there's like a whole like kind of like cutscene thing or whatever, and you fill these things in when you collect them and then probably open a gate or something. I don't remember what it actually supposed to do because it's been a while since I played it. And I've gotten one of them so far, and then once you get past that point, it opens up on sort of like you see icons for where the rest of them are, and you have to kind of like open up the map as you go and kind of get there. But you start off with kind of like a melee weapon, but then you quickly get other things like bow and arrow, magic wands, a boomerang, spear. I'm trying to think of all the different things I've gotten. But most things, even like the melee weapons, attack things even slightly at range. But with like the magic wand or the bow and arrow, you can shoot things across the screen. And it's all kind of like you can hold the button down and just continuously fire it at a certain rate depending on what it is. You can upgrade things so that they fire faster or have more range or do more damage. And then a lot of the enemies will be throwing things back at you. So you've got monster enemies and other things will just have kind of like cool like 2D sprite lasery blobs that come at you, or they'll shoot arrows at you or whatever. There's quite a bit of different enemies that I found in the little bit that I played it. And there's like kind of dungeons that you can go into. Then there's like the overworld part. Then there's these little you have kind of fountains that you go to that are kind of your respawn points that you can then teleport around once you've like visited one. And every time you go, it refills your health and your like health potions. So they're like you have like 2 of them, and once you use it, they're gone until you've refilled it, kind of a thing. So it's almost like a like a Dark Souls light system of like, hey, when you go to a bonfire, you refill your flask that you can heal you, except it's not as punishing as Dark Souls because it's not quite the same thing, but similar.
Right.
As far as like you have a thing that refills. And then, but like any good Zelda game, you get more heart pieces, you get more this or that you can upgrade. You have like these things where you do like a challenge where it looks like you're on the moon and you're running around and there's like a little satellite thing that's shooting things at you, and then like you're chasing this little diamondy looking gem around, and every time you hit it, it teleports somewhere else and you have to touch it, well, depending on the difficulty, a few times in a row. And then you're level 2 of the challenge, and then level 3 of the challenge, and then you cleared it. Oh cool, you got a treasure. So there's all sorts of just little things in there, but just from the art style, it very much is just like, hey, we like Zelda a lot, but let's just make a slightly different mechanically game. But yeah, it's cool.
It looks cool.
If you look at the trailer and be like, hey, that looks like something I would like, then you probably will. You get pretty much what it looks like in the trailer.
Yeah, and I've downloaded it. I haven't booted it up yet, but it kind of piqued my interest when it popped up. I was like, oh, that kind of looks like something I might be interested in. Uh, would it be a
Yeah,
better
not
Switch
bad.
game? Do you think? Would it be more fun to play maybe on Switch on the handheld than it would be
It'd
on
probably be
TV?
cool in handheld. Yeah, it would work really well that way. I don't know. The only thing that might be difficult is just there's a lot of things on screen sometimes, so having the bigger screen is
Yeah,
nice, and also like maybe that would make it not run on the Switch, but I'm sure you could probably optimize
yeah.
it
I
to where it would.
thought it was on Switch, but maybe it's not.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I have
I
no
don't
idea.
remember. I want to say that I saw it on there, but I could be lying.
I just know it from Game Pass because that's where it was. It's like,
Right,
oh, hey,
yeah.
that's new on Game Pass. Okay, I'll try it. Why not?
Yeah, that's one of the things. That's one of the things that Game Pass does for me. It's like, oh, I'll try this game, and if it's kind of a retro-y style game like that, I kind of go, oh, that's kind of cool. I like to play that, but you know what? It might be fun to play on the go, on the handheld, on the Switch. Let me see if that's on the Switch. Oh, it is, and I'll buy it there. You know, it's like I'm still buying it, but I'm not buying it on. You know, may not buy it
Oh
on
yeah, it
Xbox.
looks
So.
like it is on Xbox, it's on PC, and it's on Switch.
Okay, I thought I saw
According
it in
to
the
this.
store the
Yeah.
other day, but you know, I may have, like I said, I might have just been making that up, and I might have
Yeah.
thought I saw it, and I really didn't because the eShop's horrendous. So,
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be a terribly long game based on how long it took me to get through this. I
yeah,
mean, maybe if you 100% completed it and got every single thing, it might take a little bit while, but I'm guessing it's probably like 10 to 15 hour game
well, that's not bad.
based on what I spent so far and extrapolating that out. That's my guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. All right, well, let's talk about the Game Awards. That was pretty much all the news that I had was the Game Awards because that's really the big thing that happened. Um, what to take? What to take
And you
away?
suffered through it, so now we're going to talk
I
about it.
did. I watched that whole thing from the pre-show until the end.
So did I. I watched
Did
all of
you?
it.
Okay.
I'm
Were you
glad that
as
I did not. Now
were,
that you two have been complaining about it, I was like,
oh my
I
gosh,
made the correct
I was going
choice.
to say, were you getting miserable around 2 hours into it just like,
Yeah, I remember
oh my
there was a
gosh.
part. Well, yeah, because I remember there was a part where, probably about 2.5 hours into it, where
Yep.
I uh I was like, I'm gonna go make dinner. So I went and cooked a bunch of food, and then when I came back, which it took me like 45 minutes to make everything, then I came back and I was like, oh my god, it's still going. But
Yeah.
then I like kind of rewinded it a little bit, and I didn't miss much, so I chose a good time to make dinner. But it was, I mean, overall, I thought it was fine. But I do agree with the sentiment that everyone's been saying of just like, I mean, over half of this show was they were world premieres, and
52.
52 world premieres. That's insane. And like every time, Jeff's always like, "Look, we want to celebrate the medium. We want to celebrate the medium." It's like, well, why does it feel like E3 then?
Yeah.
Don't we should
Well, it
be
doesn't.
really,
It's like a weird hybrid of the two, and it needs to
yeah,
be two shows, but you're kind
Mm-hmm.
of doing a poor service to the awards side of it for sure. And
Yeah.
then, like,
Well,
the trailers play okay because they're trailers, but it could be done better if it was its own thing, probably. If nothing else, it wouldn't be as long. So,
oh my
yeah,
gosh.
it's kind
They
of
would
like hurting itself.
what would aggravate me is they would play 5 or 6 trailers and then they would say, "Here's a list of awards that we gave out." And you know, I granted it was like esports and this and that and that and this, but like
Not always.
not
Some of them were
always.
like what you
Yeah,
would think of as
some
a
of them
quote
were.
major award,
Yeah.
or at least ones people would be interested in
Um.
seeing the people come up on stage, and they didn't. It's just like,
yeah,
hey,
The
we
when
gave them this award.
Okay, when they actually stood up and did the innovation for accessibility and Forza Horizon 5 won it, they got up when they were walking up the stage, the lady came across the thing and also winning sports game of the year was for Forza Horizon 5. I'm like, sports game of the year? If you're a sports, that's a big that's a big one. Why didn't you have that? Why did you just say, "Oh, and they also won?" It's like cuz I'm like looking at the things that they actually had people come up on the stage. I see innovation, art direction, ongoing game, performance, narrative, game direction, and Game of the Year. 7 of them they actually gave out on stage, and they had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. They had 19 games. And I think they only gave out 7 or 8
categories?
on the
Yeah.
stage. Yeah, and they only had...
Out of the 19 categories, only 7 went up on stage. That's crazy. Over the course of 2.5 hours also, that's nuts.
Yeah, and it was maybe
Mm-hmm.
there 7 or 8, maybe 9, maybe half of them, but I know it wasn't more than... I don't think it was more than 8, just by what I'm looking at here. I guess they did the best debut indie game. That was one that went up on stage. And I think best mobile game. So that's 8. That's 9. So half of them they gave out actual on stage. The other half they didn't. it's like, and then all the rest of the show was trailers, and it was 7.
Well, like at this point, this is way more about showing trailers, but also all of the ads that they can pack in there, and that's more what's adding the length too. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't think you need those ads in order to run this. It's more like, hey guys, we'll let you run some ads and we'll happily take your money for it. They don't need to at this point. They've gotten it to be big enough that I don't think they would need to have any ads in this thing.
No.
But it does bring them more money, I guess. I don't know.
They
know that enough people have eyes on it that they can get away with it.
It was 4 hours. If you count the pre-show, that was 4.5, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, when the pre-show is still the show because you're doing reveals there, that's the show.
And there was a couple of big reveals they did during that pre-show that they never mentioned again. It was like, if you didn't watch that first pre-show, then you were screwed. They
should. I don't know. I think they still think that like no one will watch the awards part, but you're already there where no one's watching the awards part because you're not doing the awards part,
right?
True.
Or at least half of them, right? It's just like, come on, do both of them well. You need to split it apart. You're kind of, shooting yourself in the foot and handicapping yourself / making it way too long by trying to do both all at once.
I guess it was 3 hours. Pre-show was 3.5. I guess it started.
And this is like on top of he already does it sort of separately with the Summer Game Fest that he started doing, where it's just the show trailers, kind of game event stuff. So having it still in the Game Awards as well is like, it's giving it a spot in kind of this time of year that nothing else is here. So there can be some cool like new reveals and whatnot, but just do it that way and don't do the awards if you're not going to do them anyway, or do the awards as its own thing on one day and then do the other stuff another day. Make it kind of more like a con or something. So there's better ways they could do it rather than lumping it all together all at once.
Well, yeah, it's like the Summer Games thing, but I mean, because honestly, all the premieres and stuff like that, like the first thing I felt right away is I started getting immediately almost the same vibe as I did whenever he does the opening night live, right, for Gamescom, which is just a bunch of trailers, and and the set pieces are almost the same too, typically, and like it just feels like an extended version of that, plus like some people coming up and just accepting some awards, and I'm like, if it feels like he wants to do a more extravagant version of the BAFTAs, which is already very extravagant, but that one, it's just the balance is just not there. I get wanting to keep people like tuned in and keep people excited because it's just like, look, not only are you going to see some awesome awards and are we going to celebrate, but we got some awesome news for you too. But just there's a huge just misbalance of
52 though. 52 is a lot.
That's
I mean,
insane.
and I understand that there was a lot to show, but my gosh.
I mean, they could still do a good awards show if you just take all of the trailers out, throw them away, then you can have, not throw away, but put them in somewhere else so they're not in the awards show part. And then you still have things to bring people in if you can still have enough money to bring in all the cool musical acts and stuff that they do that are still neat, but like I would just completely get rid of those and that'd save you money, and then you could get rid of all the ads, but that's just me from a viewer perspective rather than I'm running this as a business to do this as an event perspective for sure. But at a certain point you got to think, wait, what are all the people watching this going to tolerate? We've pushed them super far already by making this thing run for 57 hours straight, maybe we need to rethink how we do this.
When I'm getting up in the middle of it and walking around the living room because I've sat for so long that I need to actually get up, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a break. Let me get up and stretch. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine being one of those people sitting in the audience for that long.
I mean, maybe it's like, ooh, we want to be the Oscars, so we have to be way too long. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the people that did get up on stage, they wanted to say more there, and especially at the end, they were like, they're telling me to be cut off, but I really want to say this or that or that or this. Let them say. I mean, don't let them up there and talk for 20 minutes, but let them say what they want to say.
It doesn't need to be a TED talk, right? But like at the same time, like I don't think anybody's gonna have that long of a speech, because most people, even if you're like, if I was giving a speech, I would still know that, okay, we do have to get this award show moving,
Right?
but but that's also your moment, so when you have somebody doing this in the background, like, wrap it up,
Yeah.
like, come on, man. Like,
And if you're if you're wanting to celebrate the medium, then let these people celebrate the medium, because that's it. They're up there for thousands, in some cases thousands of people who made that game. Let them get up there and talk, even if it's a minute and a half. Let them talk 2 minutes.
Which isn't that bad, because like, honestly, for stuff like that, I get excited for, it's like, oh, we worked hard on this, and it always feels like they want to share like a small little story, but they can't.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Kenna people got up there, and they were just, they were flabbergasted. They were surprised. They were shocked. And they wanted to say more, and it was just like.
And that's how, if you did it just as an awards show and didn't have all the other stuff making it so long already, you could allow for that, and then it would be better because you could have those as viral clips later. Like, you get the few clips out of the Oscars every year of like, whoa, this weird thing happened or whatever. You have room for that now, instead of just like, oh, you want an award? Screw you. Get off. Go away. We don't want to hear from you. Where's the next world premiere? That's what it feels like now, and it's it's not good for anybody.
Well, and me and you talked about it before Dennis got here pre-show. It was like there was very weird segues into different things. Like, there was a part, I don't even remember who it was he was talking to. He had the two developers there talking about whatever game. And he's like, oh, that sounds great, let's show a trailer, the next trailer for Saints Row. It was like, it had nothing to do with that game. It had nothing to do with them. It was just so weird. It was like, okay, we're done talking, roll the clip of Saints Row. It's like,
I noticed that.
Jeff Keighley's just like, talk to the hand, I'm over here, and roll the trailer.
It's like, what?
Hold up, you can do better transitions than that. Come on.
Yeah, like, that actually made me laugh a lot. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's when he was talking to the Warhammer people.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Space Marine, yeah.
Oh, the one with the gigantic dude with who had the big sword that made it look less big because he is a big human being.
He was a tall human being. He really was. It was like, whoa.
Like, oh, you come from the Warhammer universe? I believe it.
You wear that blue suit. Yep, I can see that. You wear the Space Marine suit. Okay, no
You're
problem.
3 times bigger than normal humans? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm a tall guy, and I was like, oh my gosh, that guy looks huge. He's
a big dude. But yeah, that part, like, honestly made me laugh because it was so quick and it felt so, like, arbitrary, and like, it was so funny just because, like, just his reaction for it. That's the thing that killed me, is it was like, it felt like there was no respect, and I mean, I'm sure he respected him, but it just, with how quick it was, it made me laugh because it felt like there was a lack of respect of just like, yeah, Space Marine, man, that looks cool. Here's a trailer for Saints Row.
Yeah, it was like, I went, what the crap was that? And he did it at the beginning too, when he was talking about the harassment and this and that and that and this and all the Blizzard. Well, he didn't really say Blizzard Activision, but all that stuff. And then as soon as he got done saying it, he didn't even take a breath to, let's take this world premiere. You take this serious thing and then immediately roll into a clip for a new game coming out. Yeah, basically. You just kind of dismissed it. It was like,
all of these things would be solved if they didn't try to do both things in the same show, because everything would have room to breathe, and you can give it the space it needs to like not feel weird.
Or just don't do so much of it. 52 trailers is a lot. 52 is a whole lot because it was just bam. It was like a Microsoft presentation. Here's a trailer. Here's a trailer. Here's a trailer. Here's a trailer. Now let's talk for a second.
Part of that is just a bit of like Jeff Keighley being super excited about video games and wanting to put in as much as he possibly can, and at this point having the reputation that a lot of people will give him stuff to put in there, and he just doesn't want to say no.
And I totally.
I mean, I'm sure that's part of it, but
my gosh, I mean.
Organize it better.
Yeah.
Like,
the
do
problem
something.
also is like, I think the biggest difference between something like E3 and something like this, where E3, I mean, you know, all those game reveals, that yes, it is trailer after trailer after trailer, but with the Game Awards, with how much there was this time around, I don't remember half of what was shown.
Yeah,
you know.
By the time I was,
E3, I remember all their conferences. I remember every single one of their conferences, but this, I don't remember half of what was shown.
2 hours. 2 hours into it, I was exhausted. I was exhausted from just watching trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer. I liked it better. Was it 2 years ago? That they had one last year, but they didn't have an audience.
That's right.
I think it was 2 years ago because that was the one where Phil Spencer came up and then they actually showed the Series X and announced it there. I thought that one was a whole lot better. The pace of it was better. They had trailers, but it wasn't insane, crazy.
That one was pretty
packed. Yeah, it flowed good. This one, it was just like, let's cram it all in here. Okay, well, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to cram more in here, and then we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to cram more in here.
I started thinking also, I was like, why even have a stage? It feels like people are just kind of walking into just a glorified movie theater at this point, just to watch a bunch of trailers. I'm like, this would have been no different if everybody stayed home this year too.
Yeah. Other than they were there to watch some people sing and watch the trailers, but
yeah, exactly.
Any of the winners kind of surprise you, or ones that didn't win? I really thought Psychonauts would win something, to win nothing, and them and Ratchet and Clank won nothing, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that surprises me that neither one of them won something, because especially like Psychonauts 2 doesn't seem like it's big enough to be like, oh, no one's going to want to vote for it, but it doesn't seem... I don't know. It's also that game's awesome and deserves something.
Well, I figured Psychonauts would at least win Best Art Direction or Best Director. I really figured it would win at least one of those two.
Art Direction...
Deathloop.
I would say Art Direction Psychonauts 2 is at the bottom of the list, or second to bottom of the list, as far as like what all those games that are in that category. Like, yes, it's awesome, but yeah, I don't know. Deathloop, I probably wouldn't have picked that one, but all of the games in the Art Direction one are really good. That's a stacked category. All of them are very pretty, well-made, art-directed games.
I mean, I was glad to see Take-Two win it. I mean, that was kind of to me, they were kind of the...
It Takes Two was a surprise. I figured one of the other ones would win it, that was cool.
Surprises though, because I think it was kind of upsetting me that every time It Takes Two did win something, it was at one of those like, those like rapid shot like ones where they're just like, okay, and then this category, this person wins this person wins that, and without having them come on stage, and like I really wanted to see Joseph Ferris come on stage.
At one point, I figured they just didn't want him on stage. I just figured.
I have a question. Do you guys know, or off the top of your head, what the player's voice category was? Because like Halo Infinite wins that, and it's not even really shouldn't have been out.
It was
by the time they were doing voting and stuff. Yeah, so I was like, what even is that?
they had it was almost like a tournament. They had series of votes, and it started out with this big, and then they slimmed it down, and then they slimmed it down.
What is that even supposed? What is player's voice supposed to be in as a thing? What are you even awarding there?
Just whatever people vote.
And also, everybody can vote in every category. So, also Halo Infinite, like, no, it shouldn't be there. It should be in next year's Game Awards.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that was the players' choice vote. I mean, they don't vote.
It's a dumb award that picked the dumbest game out of that category apparently to win it. When I saw that when I was looking down the list of who won, I was like, wait, what even is that? That's so weird.
The same thing went through my head where I was like, I don't know. What are we voting for exactly?
And also, how is Halo Infinite even in this category? I don't get it. Like, it shouldn't be there. It released like a couple days before the Game Awards show, let alone like well after they put voting up. So just like, how is it even in the category? I don't get it.
So let's see.
I was annoyed a little bit, but mostly because it was the game I wanted didn't win. But best narrative for Guardians of the Galaxy, it was fine. Its narrative is not the strong suit. Its characters are the strong suit,
Yeah.
but the narrative, like, I guess characters are part of it, and it does have decent rank. It's not like it's a bad game, but it's just like, I much would have rather have probably any of the other games win that category, but Life is Strange True Colors should have won best narrative because that game has a really freaking good story.
Yeah, it should have.
It made me sad. It also made me sad that Erica Mori didn't win in best performance, but then again, like, the only one I would have been upset if they had won would have been Giancarlo Esposito, because it's like, don't pick the Hollywood person to win.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And it didn't, so I get it. Get Big Lady from Resident Evil Village is cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
and it's fun seeing her walk up on stage because she's a tall person in real life.
I was going to say, wow, she's really tall in real life.
She's a tall person that is also wearing heels in real life, so she's very tall.
Like, oh my gosh. It was like, because Nikki was sitting there and I was like, wow, she's a tall person in real life, not just in the game. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
It was like, it really caught me off guard. I'm trying to see, just do a quick count because I didn't count them up before. Trying to see who won the most. I'd say it was between, I got 3 for Forza Horizon. Deathloop won 1, 2.
2, I think.
Yeah, 2. So let's see. It Takes Two. It may have won the most because there's 1. I really should have done this before.
Hey, we're doing the math live or whatever.
Yeah.
Or we should have found a better article that totaled it for us.
I couldn't find one. That was what I was kind of looking for. 3. Yeah, it looks like It Takes Two won 3 as well. So.
Yeah, I mean it was not spread out. There wasn't one that was like, hey, this game won 15 things or something. So there's like 3 sounds like the most to me for sure.
Yeah. Metroid Dread, best action adventure game.
Wait. What else was in that category? That's what I was wanting to look up.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil Village, and Psychonauts 2, along with Metroid Dread.
I guess it's also part of my thing of like, what even is action adventure game at this point? It's such a wide, broad thing, or at least how they treat it. That's like, okay, well, it's hard to compare some of these games.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
This year, though, role-playing game was a very not great category.
No,
there's not like a super standout something. When I was voting on these, like when they had voting for a while ago, it's like, wow, when we have a game that has as much backlash as Cyberpunk 2077 still in the role-playing game category, and then I looked up what actually came out, I was like, yeah, this was a very like light year for at least that kind of RPGs.
Yeah,
there's a lot of smaller ones and stuff that came out, especially on PC. But yeah, it was just like, oh, okay.
I wanted Shin Megami to win, but I knew it wouldn't. I knew Tales would because Tales just has a bigger following than Shin Megami does.
Yeah.
So that one wasn't too much a surprise. I mean, even Bridge of Spirits, it won 2 awards. I think that's
a good game.
I think that's the most a Sony game won, quote unquote Sony game. I think Returnal won 1. Sony exclusive.
Returnal did get something, yeah. I don't know. I wanted another choice for most anticipated game that says all of these.
I know, right? It was like.
However, Elden Ring is technically mine. If I had to pick just one, it would be Elden Ring. But like that, the new God of War, the new Horizon game, a new Breath of the Wild game, Starfield. Yes, all of these are very anticipated games.
Yeah, really. It's like that's the hard one to choose.
The lowest on that list for me is Starfield, but that's just because I don't trust Bethesda yet until they prove that they can make a good game.
Yeah.
That's not boring, because so far Starfield looks boring to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all I've seen is that cinematic trailer, so I mean, I don't even know,
True.
exactly.
But then there's also like, hey, the last game you guys put out was kind of trash when you released it, as far as just being loaded with bugs even more than usual.
Right.
So prove to me you could put out a working good game when Starfield comes out, and
Let's
then I'll pay attention.
let's put some of that Microsoft money to good use.
I mean, at the very least, they can get some QA on it.
Yeah, exactly. So trailers. Anything surprise you that they showed? Not a lot of gameplay trailers. I mean,
Yeah, less cinematics.
Hellblade 2 was supposedly was a in-game gameplay. They said
That was
without
awesome
the
to see,
HUD.
yeah.
That's definitely in-game gameplay based on what like the first game looks like. Is like,
Yeah.
yes, this looks like Hellblade, what you would do in the game, except we're hopefully that's not just some weird set piece, and we're getting more of that because the first game doesn't get that weird except for a little bit here and there. Like it has kind of the overall just like psychosis stuff, but it doesn't have like, look, giant man thing trying to kill us stuff.
Giant
And very often
man thing. Yeah,
it does have like that, does have some bits of that kind of stuff here, but it was very much like small specific moments in that game.
Yeah.
It's showing like, hey, we have a budget, so maybe we can afford to do some more stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that game looks gorgeous.
It does. It looked real gorgeous. I think, dare I say, of the gameplay that they showed, I think it was the best looking game that they showed. I mean, Horizon looked good.
I mean, Horizon wasn't even much of a gameplay as they've showed before. It was just more like, here's like showcasing some of the like different machines that you'll see, some of which we've already seen from the previous game or other trailers. One of which was like, ooh, that Cobra snake looks cool. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
But it was also very short.
Yeah, it was. Especially for a game coming out supposedly in February, end of February.
I mean, honestly, I appreciate it because like, don't overstay your welcome. Like before Deathloop came out, I was starting to be like, I know I want to play this game, and you've already shown this type of stuff, and it seems like you're showing almost the same stuff every time, and it's a full trailer every time. So the fact that they're not doing that here, it's like, okay, that's cool. Just do another tease. That's all you need.
Alan Wake 2. Very excited about it. It's survival horror. I'm not real excited about that because I'm not a big survival horror fan.
I am, because I think Remedy will do something a little bit different with it.
I hope so.
And I want to see what they do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I loved the first Alan Wake. I wouldn't consider it survival horror. I mean.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, but.
And they say the same too.
Yeah, and when he said, it's Alan Wake 2, yes, and he's like, it's survival horror, I went, oh. It's like, I'm just not a big fan of
I'm excited
horror,
for it because I like the universe, and there's some cool stuff they could do with that by going a little bit more scary and creepy with it. But also, you could tell that they're excited to make this game, and I'd rather them do that than try and just do something that like, oh, this is what people expect, or this is what this franchise is. We can't do anything new with it. So I'm excited that they're trying something that they're excited about. So hopefully it turns out really good.
Yeah. Wonder Woman game coming. That looks pretty cool. Monolith. That'll
they'll have I want to see how the Nemesis system works outside of the Middle Earth game, since this is the first one they've done that's not in that kind of universe. But we'll have a while to wait because that game is.
Yeah, that's like
it's not soon.
Like we said, I was saying with the Star Wars Eclipse game, that one really excites me. It's in the High Republic era of Star Wars, which is
that one was a very, very, very pretty cinematic trailer. And if you were to tell me like this is a trailer for a movie or something, you'd be like, that would be a good looking movie.
When they started showing some of it, I went, oh, that's High Republic, because I've listened to the first two novels, mainline novels, and I could pick out stuff that was in those novels that they described in that trailer, and I went, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then I saw it was Aquatic Dream, and I was like, oh man, this might be fantastic. But I'm hoping that
it could be really cool. We'll see. It's kind of like that's another game that I'm expecting to be pretty far off.
My other question is it PC and PlayStation 5 exclusive? Is it multi-console? They didn't say. You go on their website, it doesn't say. So it's like, Is it going to
Maybe
be?
they're still figuring that out. Who
Maybe,
knows?
yeah.
Like,
It's like, what's this going to
you
be
would
on?
think though with Star Wars they would that like Lucasfilm, Disney, etc. would want that on as many places as
Well,
possible.
you would think.
But then you'd think you look at some other things that they've done, so like who knows?
Yeah.
It could
Well,
go either
I
way at this
mean,
point.
like with the New Republic or the Old Republic that's coming up. I mean, that's a Sony PC exclusive, so who knows?
Oh, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
I was
Knights
thinking of the Old Republic MMO for a second. I
No,
was like,
not
wait,
the
what?
MMO.
Oh, yeah,
I said that.
yeah.
I said that wrong. I always do that. What else?
I would not be surprised if that is also going to be on like an Xbox console at some point.
It may be a
after it comes
time
out.
exclusive. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
But that Star Wars trailer was very pretty, knowing nothing about it. It's like, hey, here's a lot of cool Star Warsy stuff, and it's looking at least some of it different than what we. Also, the music gives it a different vibe because it's not just John Williams style Star Wars score, so that was cool, and it also had Space Voldemort.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
When that drummer guy turns around, I was like, just take Voldemort and add a little bit of like weird skin folds in a couple places, but his face is just like, well, that looks very close to movie version of Voldemort. That's kind of funny. Maybe it's his he gets defeated by Harry Potter and then goes to space and becomes a part of a drum crew.
Yeah,
this will be my second chance.
That Lord of the Rings Gollum Untold Story looked pretty good. I heard it's a dark, or is it a dark?
Oh, I missed that one.
I got an email about that one like months and months and months ago.
I
but
did
they didn't
too, and I didn't really.
I heard that they were making it a while ago, but I don't know much about it. And then I totally missed that they had a trailer for this, so I'll need to look that up on YouTube later.
That's the one thing that kind of kept me going through the thing is after they would have a debut trailer, I would get an email going, "Hey, we just announced this game," and so I signed up for a lot of review codes for brand new games that probably won't come out for 3 or 4 years. It'll probably be one of those things where I'll get an email and I'll go, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." But I want to say I did get the email on the Golem game, and I want to say it said it was because the trailer didn't show anything. Let's see. I thought it said something that it was like a developed by Spiders. No, it's not in this. What is this? No, that is not. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. This is a collection of all the stuff. Anyway, I'd have to look it up. I swear I thought
don't know what they could do with Gollum as a game, like other than stealth.
Well,
maybe.
and I swear it said it was like a Dark Souls type game, is what it said. I'm almost positive. I'll have to look it up later.
What if Gollum secretly is this cool knight that puts on this armor and wields a giant sword that's 3 times bigger than him, and you just never knew about it because no one made a video game about it?
Yeah.
That would be terrible. That would be so bad.
That would not be. That would be. Yeah.
I've got my fingers crossed for the Expanse Telltale game because 1, I love the Expanse. 2, Telltale, hopefully they can come back and do some good games now that they've been resurrected in whatever form they are now with this studio. But the character that they're forming the game around is one of my favorites from the show, and they've got the actress from the show as voicing her, so hopefully it'll be one of the better licensed Telltale games and not one of the bad ones.
Yeah.
We don't want Jurassic Park here.
No Jurassic
We don't want the Game of Thrones Telltale either. We don't want those. We want the good ones.
That is true. First time chat or Walking Soul says in the chat that Star Wars drummer was like the Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, the drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things when I've looked at what people have said. He looks like this or this. There's a lot of different ones. I was like, yeah.
That's
like.
True. Let's see what else. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. It's a massive expansion, not just an expansion. Massive expansion. It said it was like, all right,
okay.
A massive
well, like
expansion.
Think of the Monster Hunter World expansion. I guess you could call that one also. If that's just an expansion, then what does massive mean? Because that's already pretty big.
Exactly.
Like.
What did we think of the? What did you guys think of the Sonic 2 movie trailer? Um,
I
I
liked it
did watch it.
personally.
oh,
Like,
you
have
didn't
you
watch it?
guys watched the first movie?
I
Because
have
that
not
movie
watched
was
the first
surprising.
movie yet. It's on Prime. I need to
Ooh.
pull it up and watch it.
Well, it's like I honestly went into that movie thinking it was gonna be terrible, and it was actually the last movie I saw before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So the last movie I saw in theaters. And I walked out honestly with the biggest smile on my face because it was a fun movie. Jim Carrey was just being Jim Carrey, which was great, and I had a really like genuinely good time with it. It was kind of a feel good movie,
I
and
I laughed out loud at this trailer because they actually have him bald and with the big mustache like Eggman.
yeah,
And the first thing he says is, "Papa's got a brand new stash."
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's pretty
One
funny.
fun thing that I heard somebody or saw posted somewhere, I don't remember if it was on like one of the podcasts I listened to or if I saw it on like Twitter or something, but they were saying they wish that they hadn't done the Sonic redesign from the first movie just so they could see what Tails like monstrosity would be at this
Oh yeah,
point.
go back and watch the dude talking about introducing the trailer because it was hilarious because he was like, yeah, thanks a lot guys for letting us know that you didn't like that. It really helped us out a lot. It was pretty hilarious, but go look that up on YouTube. But yeah, I haven't watched the first Sonic movie. I need to, but this
yeah.
one looked
Watch
like
it.
it's going to be really fun too. So
Yeah,
I
it looks really good to me.
yeah, it kind of looked better than the first one, I thought, just
Mhm.
by the trailer. So
So, yeah, for sure.
we talked about uh, Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2. That game looks sweet. Um, I like shooting things with as a big Space Marine with big guns.
I want to know what Dennis thinks of Slitterhead because that thing looked like a weird, creepy, cool something
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
I was like the whole time I'm watching, I was like, what is this? And then it shows up with like the Japanese text, and then the like English text like fades over. It was like, that's a name.
Yeah.
It made me laugh. It was great.
yeah. So that game is created by the creator actually of Silent Hill,
Right.
and he's also working again with Akira Yamaoka, who's the legendary composer, one of my favorite, if not my number one favorite composers, all throughout the Silent Hill series. And so, but the trailer, I'll be honest with you, was not a very good trailer. Now I'm excited for it because I know it's probably going to be absolutely insane given the names that are going to be involved,
Right.
um, and I'm sure they're going to get Masahiro Ito involved as well, who did a lot of the designs of the original Silent Hills, at least up to 3, I think, and then after that he just kind of like uh, parted ways with Konami. Um, but if this is going to be sort of like uh, loosely, I'm going to use the term a spiritual successor, if you will, then I think we're in for a treat for sure.
Yeah, the minute I saw it was from the makers of Silent Hill, I went, Dennis is going to want this game. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
tomorrow.
Well, speaking of oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, speaking of Silent Hill, Guillermo del Toro name dropped Silent Hill as well,
Mm-hmm.
and when he was giving away the award for best art direction, I think he was at the end of his speech. He was like, "You know what else has a great art direction? Silent Hill. I wonder if we'll ever get another one of those." And I'm like, "Well, hold on, hold on. I mean, I hope. Are you and Kojima getting?
Are you pulling a Johnson?
What's going on? What's
Are we
going on?"
going full circle here? Like
Yeah.
coming back around to this?
Like,
Some secret behind closed doors deals that you just couldn't keep quiet about?
Yeah.
yeah. Which, but hopefully, maybe he was just trying to, do a little taunt to Konami to be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, look, seriously, like people want."
Or, you know what else would be cool? Is if he did a Silent Hill movie. I would also be interested in watching
I would
that.
be up for that. Actually, I would be up for that. I still maintain it's the best video game movie. So,
I don't know about best, but it is very good. Like the first one, at least.
yeah, yeah. Second one, Jesus. But the
Hey,
first
you know what all worked about that first one? Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah. Which one took place in Silent Hill, West Virginia? Was that the second one or the first one?
Huh?
Didn't it take
Do what
one,
now?
wasn't the Silent Hill in one of those movies supposed to be in West Virginia? Didn't I
Well,
hear that?
Silent Hill, I think, is actually based off of a place in Pennsylvania, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't watch. I've never watched the movies. I have both of them I got them somewhere. They're in a box.
Yep, the first one's really, really good. That second one is a massive disappointment,
They're
though. My
still
lord.
in cellophane. So, that Have a Nice Death game. That one looked really cool. That was the one at the beginning with the little death dude who was sitting at his desk.
Was it like the 2D?
Yeah, it was
one?
like a 2D. It looked like a mix of it reminded
Bill and Mandy's, was it Grim Adventures or whatever, that cartoon network show.
no, it kind of reminded me of I can't remember the two games when I thought of it. Now I can't remember. It looks really cool though. I mean, I thought it was one of the cooler looking indie games that they showed.
Yeah.
What else stood out?
Even though I probably won't play it because that game's very hard and I never got, far into the main actual game, but the Cuphead DLC Island looked pretty cool just from,
Awesome.
visually that game looks stunning. But also like the stuff they did for the trailer where that wasn't the gameplay, where they have the actual like kind of like puppet stuff moving around on sticks was kind of fun.
Yeah, that I liked that whole thing. I thought that was really, really good. Where is it? Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. That gameplay trailer looked pretty cool.
Do you mean Sunset Overdrive licensed to DC?
Sure.
Because I got big Sunset Overdrive vibes from just the movement and just the colors of that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's take some of the stuff from Sunset Overdrive, but now we've got the DC license. It's weird. I don't know. I think it's just because of all the like different like jumping and grappling and stuff around, plus colorful explosions is kind of what gave me that vibe. The game itself probably won't be like Sunset Overdrive. It's just that trailer kind of gave me that vibe.
Yeah, you're right. It did all the jumping and the flying around. That Star Trek Resurgence game looked pretty cool. That's made by former developers at Telltale Games as well. So,
I need to look that trailer up because I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I mean, I like
the rest is probably just a teaser or something.
Yeah, I mean, I like a good Star Trek game if it's done right, and this one kind of looks like it's going to be done right. So, I mean, we haven't had a real good Star Trek game in a long time, so it looked more adventure-y. So,
speaking of games we haven't had in a long time, there's going to be a new Dune like strategy game.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since the original RTS ones from way back when.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm kind of excited for that. The Halo TV series, the trailer for that looked cool. I mean,
it's pretty much like a teaser trailer amount of stuff, and like visually it looks cool. Like still story wise, who knows? You can't really tell from that, but visually it looks like Halo.
Yeah, I was surprised.
They nailed the look of it.
Yeah, I was really worried that it was going to look really cheesy.
Yeah, just like those low budget sort of like off of the CW or something.
But when they said it was going to be on Paramount Plus and Showtime was kind of the ones that were making it, it was like, okay, well, there's at least with Showtime, there's at least some money behind it. So but yeah, like Nathaniel said, I hope the story's good too. But who knows?
I mean, I don't know that I'll watch it because it's on Paramount Plus. So if I did, it would be probably not when it's out. But
yeah,
I don't know.
We have Paramount Plus, so sure.
It's gonna depend on what because like I don't know. It's like Halo has decent video game stories, but what are you gonna do for a show? You're gonna have to do something different to tell a story that's fun to watch rather than play, right? So. We don't know what that's going to be yet, so it looks good. They definitely got the visuals down. Yeah. Hopefully they have some good storytelling in there too.
Yeah, I hope so. So anything else? I mean, there was just so much.
Plague Tale 2 Requiem.
Oh yes.
Looks like more of that, and I will take more of that. And there are still rats, and there are lots of them.
Yeah, there at that end, I was like, "Whoa, yeah." There's still a lot of rats, aren't there?
Hopefully, they make the little brother a little less annoying in the second game, because there's a couple points in the first game where it's arbitrarily like, no, he's gonna have a like snotty little kid moment that felt very scripted rather than natural. So it's more like maybe a writing thing rather than like the game itself. But I don't know. It looks good. I'll play more of that for sure.
Course,
the only thing I was curious from that trailer is like, wait, there's another character that survived the ending of the first game that wasn't in this trailer. I want to know what's going on with them.
Yeah.
I have questions.
So
Let's see. There's also a thing that I did not watch, which is the Elden Ring story trailer or something. It was like, that game's close enough. I'm gonna wait for the game for that one.
yeah, I mean, it looked cool. I just I'm sure it's going to be a cool game. It's going to be very popular. I don't know if it's going to be a game for me or not.
I already know it's not going to be a game for me. That's why, like, I have
Well,
excitement towards it.
based on what everybody was saying for the like player test thing or network test, whatever they called it, that it seems like it will probably be the most accessible game that they've had, because it sounds like the open world map part of it is very much easier than any kind of Souls game so far. And that's from like people who are like huge Souls community people like Vati Video, compared to like people who haven't really played Souls stuff. Like a couple different sources seem to say similar things.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's almost like 3 levels of difficulty almost, because then you have kind of like the out in the world bosses that can show up if you go to their area, and then you have like the actual dungeons that are a lot closer to what you expect from a Souls game previously, as far as like, you know, level design, hard enemies and traps and whatnot. And
I
also
almost signed up
because
for
of
it,
that,
but
it's also, I'm going to assume, be like some of the other, like Dark Souls specifically is what it looks like it's pulling from the most, even though there's some stuff that looks like it's pulling from their other games. But glancing at kind of like the little bit they showed of crafting in the kind of gameplay trailer, and the fact that you could still level up, I'm sure that you can out level that game just like you could previous ones, where it's
I'm
just like,
sure.
yeah, I'm at level 375 or whatever it would be. Who knows what the system is, but
All right.
I don't know. I very much love those games. I've played every single one, and I'm looking forward to Elden Ring a lot.
Yeah. It looks really cool. The story
It's
sounds like
it's very
yeah,
pretty too.
it's very pretty. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it'd be like, see when it comes out, see what people are saying about it then, because I'm sure a lot of the reviews will probably mention that kind of thing. Because it also feels like they're trying to go for a bit bigger audience this time as well than they have with like all the other ones. Is like, we're playing to our strengths. We know we've got our audience. We might get a few more or whatever. But this time it seems like they're trying to be a little bit more broad with it.
Yeah, and I almost signed up for that technical beta, whatever they called it, just to try it out and see if I would like it.
Apparently, it was very big. There was like, you could play many hours in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that and then go to the main game when it comes out and play that again. It would just
do that all over.
Like, no, it's like I want to save it for when I play the game and can play the whole thing.
And games like that, I usually just play just like maybe an hour of it, just to kind of go, I might like that, I might not like it, But I think I
just play it long enough to ride around on the mount for a while and jump up some hills.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I didn't, because I think the weekend they were going to have it, I wasn't going to be here or something crazy. So it was like, well, even if I got in, there's no sense in me signing up for it, and downloaded it and then never playing it. But was it just me, or did you think a lot of those games that they actually announced dates for were in March? Does it seem like February and March we're just going to get hammered with games if they stick to those dates?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was going to be February and March and April and May.
I guess. I mean,
because like some of those will all stay there. Some of them might move, and I don't know. Like 2022 is, with video games and movies, going to be a kind of packed year, because you've got all the stuff that was delayed into 2022. You got stuff that was planned to come out in 2022, and it's all like fighting for space. It's just like, we're just going to cram it all in as much as we can. Kind of a year is what it feels like it's shaping up to be. We'll see how it actually happens. But
just scrolling through this article here,
there's a lot.
Yeah, Elden Ring's on the 25th. Saints Row on the 25th.
Well, for like February has February. Like Horizon is also that month, and a couple other things as well. Like, there's lots and lots of things going in the first few months of the year.
Let's see, Horizon, when is, I want to say that's the 25th too, isn't it, of February? Let me see.
I think Horizon and Elden Ring were like separated by a week or two or something. Maybe. Last time I looked, but I could just be misremembering.
Yeah, the 18th, that's right. Okay, so it was 18th, and then the 25th is Elden Ring and Saints Row, and I'm just looking through it going.
We didn't talk about the Saints Row trailer really, other than they had it, but I think this trailer looked better than what they've had before, because it shows some of the Saints Row fun, and like all these, look, there's all these fun goofy weapons. Look, you can have a wingsuit and fly around and all this stuff of what the previous Saints Row games, what made them good and fun to play, was all just like, here's all these fun toys to play with kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And they're a little over the top. And the previous trailer didn't show that, and this one's like, okay, they're still going to be at least a little over the top in this game.
So they showed the trailer for Destiny, but they didn't say it was Destiny, the Witch Queen, till the end. As soon as it started, I went, "Oh, this is Destiny." And then they showed the trailer, and then Keesley came back and went, "Yeah, that looks fun and exciting. I can't wait to play that game." I'm like, "Yeah, it looks fun and exciting, but I guarantee it won't be."
It's just like this.
Yeah, I looked right at Nikki, right square in the face, and I said, "Yeah, it looks exciting, but I know it won't be." It's like Halo or Destiny 2, just don't even start.
They showed Forspoken again, which that game still looks good. The faces and the facial animation is still a little bit weird, but like the game itself looks fun.
Yeah, the game itself is awesome.
Yeah.
It looks almost like they're saving some of their in-game graphics budget, for lack of a better word, of like how much they can do for all the particles, because some of the like environments and stuff, I'm like, I bet you could put more detail there, but holy crap, the particles in that game, there's just so many, and they're so like intricate and detailed. It's like, yes, give me all of this.
I think I read that's a 2-year exclusive for PlayStation. I think they said that today, that it's a timed exclusive, but it's 2 years.
I mean, that's where we originally saw it when it didn't even have a title yet. It was PlayStation, so
yeah,
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be on PC also.
Yeah,
I think that Square Enix is publishing that one, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on PC day one.
Okay, cool. Because I really want to play it.
Forsaken, Square Enix.
I know that I won't. I know that I probably won't like playing the game, but the Nightingale trailer, like the art design of it, it looked pretty. But just the kind of game it is, I was like, okay, I don't need another one of those. But it looked cool for like that kind of survival crafting type of a game.
Yeah, it did.
Get angry when all the giants come to destroy your stuff you just built.
Yeah, it's like, what in the world?
Like, no, I just spent 3 hours on that. Why you smash?
But yeah, I think that about covers it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of other small things here and there throughout, but we've hit all the major big ones and some other less major big ones as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy year next year.
I mean, like from the trailers we see here, a lot of them are not for next year, though.
Oh,
no.
Several
trailers for things that are far off, but even just go Google. Hey, video game release dates by month. What do we got? Oh goodness, there's a lot here. I want to play that. Oh man, I'm gonna have time to play any of these.
I did like the Nintendo commercials that they would show during the commercial break with all the games coming out this year, and it would be like Pokemon, and there was another game, and I forgot the sequel to Breath of the Wild. They were calling it Breath of the Wild 2. It was sequel to Breath of the Wild. It's like, well, what else are you going to call it?
We don't know what to call this because we haven't officially named it yet. We're going to call it Breath of the Wind Waker something. Just combine all of the Zelda games into one title.
Call it Breath of the Wicked is what they're going to call it. The Wicked Breath instead of Wild. The Wicked Breath is what we're going to call this one.
Or let's like another dumb, weird way to say breathe that's Nintendo like goofiness. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something, but
new Inhale of the Wild.
New Inhale or just Inhale of the Wild.
Inhale.
Yeah, I don't see that one being a great title.
Yeah, that doesn't stick with me.
It doesn't have that Nintendo ring to it just yet. Well, let's workshop.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll just be like, it's Zelda Dread, go.
Yeah.
Dread is our new keyword and everything.
Yeah, we're going to say Dread for everything. So
can't wait for Mario Dread.
Yeah. I would actually play a game called Mario Dread. Maybe it'd be a first-person shooter. That would be all right.
Pikmin Dread? Can you imagine?
Luigi's Dreadful Mansion. There we go. That would
be. Yeah, I'd play that too. See, man, this is all. Well, anyway.
Instead of the year of Luigi, it's the year of dread from Nintendo.
The year of dread.
Super Dread Brothers.
Super Dread Brothers. All right. Well, we're going to call that a show. We won't be back in 2 weeks because 2 weeks from now will be Christmas. Believe it or not,
weird. It's like it happens every year. It's crazy.
know. I don't know where November went. I really don't.
It was really.
It's already really December, and I don't even know.
Don't worry. Soon enough, you'll be like, "Where did December go?"
I know. I will. But we'll probably do a show sometime the last week of the month. I don't know what day we'll do it on or anything like that, but we'll do at least one more show. It'll be our end of the year show, so I have to sit down and look through notes and see what games we played this year.
I've already done that. Like a couple months ago started that list, so I wouldn't have to look it up all at once. I added to it as I went.
I just need to I have my list.
I just have to rank it. Yeah. That's the hard part.
Yeah, that's always the hard part. I don't know. I never rank them. I just pick the 10 games, my 10 favorite games I played this year, and
but ranking is fun.
I know, but I never do rank them though. But yeah, so we'll pick a day sometime that week. It won't be on New Year's Eve, and it won't be on the day after Christmas. But just follow us on Twitter @GL_podcast if you want to come hang out with us live, and when we do have our end of the year show. And like I always say, if not, hey, you'll get it on the podcatcher whenever I put it up, probably the next day. So. But so that's always a fun one where we sit down and pick out our favorite games, because it may not be a game that came out this year that we really liked. It may have been something that we didn't play from a couple of years ago or played again. Or
my list usually is because you play enough to do that, and then I might mention a couple other things. But yeah, mostly when I do our lists for these, it's usually just from this year.
Yeah, I try to keep it within the year.
I try to, but
crazy big.
Yeah. I played a lot of Sea of Thieves this year, and this is really not a game from this year. So
1 through 6 out of your 10 will be Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, really. Well, it might as well be, because the hours I've put in Sea of Thieves is.
John, what is the next game on your list? Could it possibly be Sea of Thieves? Is your next game a pirate-themed game?
It's like I say, I'm going to play Halo. I'm going to play some Halo Infinite tonight, but I'm also, before I go to bed, I'm going to boot up Sea of Thieves and see what's going on in there before I go to bed. So.
Oh, John, the next game on your list, does it have boats?
Yeah. I sense
Is there an ocean?
Number 6 is Black Flag. Kidding, it's Sea of Thieves
once
again.
Sea of Thieves, yeah.
Is it a game in which you can play an accordion?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Beat Saber.
No.
It is once again Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Number 8 is Sea of Thieves. Number 9 is Sea of Thieves. Yeah, we just keep going down.
Number 10, strangely, is Thieves of the Sea. I think that's a reverse typo on that one, but we'll give it to you.
But,
So you got to do number 1 is Sea of Thieves on Xbox. Number 2 is Sea of Thieves on PC. Number 3
Cloud gaming. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I could do that. I could pull that off.
Number 5 is sitting in bed thinking of Sea of Thieves when you're not playing it.
Yeah, watching somebody on YouTube play Sea of Thieves before you go to bed on Twitch.
Reading issue number 4 of the Sea of Thieves comic.
Yeah, or that.
Looking at the app on your phone about Sea of Thieves, looking at the map, finding stuff on there.
Yeah, technically, sure.
We can make a full top 10 list of Sea of Thieves adjacent things for you. It'll work.
I could do all that. So.
Recreating Sea of Thieves in dreams on PS1.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. That's enough Sea of Thieves talk, because it's just making me want to go play it. And I need to go play Halo. I don't need to play Sea of Thieves.
Play me on Halo Infinite. That's where I'll be.
Yeah, that's where I'll be. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with us and listening, and we will catch you guys next time.
Take care.